All right, greetings. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of Azeroth, our big World of Warcraft family. You'll love to see it. It's that time. Good morning, Azeroth. Another super hot fire episode. Episode 46. Episode 3 of Quarantine, I think. We're sheltering in place. I'm joined today by my esteemed friends and colleagues, Defcamp Dunedain, and Chieftain of the Ayle Nation, Ayle, Big Slapper, #1 Sulfuron Harbinger, global parse.
In the world!
In the world, baby. You'd love to see it. Joined by Ayle, who also has TBC stuff very fresh in his mind. Welcome back, guys. How you guys doing today?
I am fucking, I'm so hyped. I am so hyped. Dude, okay, so first of all, we got Ayle here. I know you guys all know Ayle. He's been on the show before, Countdown to Classic, a lot of times. But yeah, I am just super duper hyped. and I just want to really talk about, BC today. We can talk about ZG, all the good stuff coming out, and really excited to be here and have Ayle as well, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, last episode was really fun, and I think this one will be just as fun as last one. Except we covered Paladin already, obviously, so maybe slightly less fun.
Oh, come on.
Defcamp's excited to talk about Priest today. Ayle, how you doing,
Yes.
brother?
Oh, I'm so hyped to talk about TBC. Really glad to be here. No cam today. Extra sweaty after that huge parse, so keeping it reserved.
Dude, is that
I just want...
that's what your character looks like in game pretty much for the most part, right, Ayle? You got the Lion Heart, the rank, the PvP armor on. You have what is that? Frostbite, and what's the other one? That other weapon?
Deathbringer.
Deathbringer. Yep, Deathbringer.
I gotta ask, Al, how does it feel to have a #1 world parse? Like, how
As a warrior, yeah, that's the
As
thing.
a
You have to,
warrior,
like the creme de la creme.
There's so many people
Yeah.
up there. Like, to be that is,
As a tryhard, it feels pretty good. Like that's what we try to do in Onslaught. We try to push the limits of everything. Be extra sweaty, go hard, and feels pretty good. But our goal with that run was to set records on every boss, which we did. So we were pretty happy.
That's awesome,
That's
man.
awesome.
That's awesome. It's just so perfect to have Ayle here because Ayle is, very in the loop with raiding. Again, big pumper in Onslaught, and they'll be probably going hard for ZG, which we'll be touching on today a little bit because ZG got announced, guys. You guys are excited for that. And then we'll also be, continuing our TBC discussion from last week. If you were here last week, we're basically just talking about TBC broad strokes with you guys. A lot of us, we all played back in the day, but it's been a while, right? So we're kind of refreshing our memory on everything with you guys. For some of us who've been playing on some of the TBC servers, have it a little bit more fresher in our minds. So we'll be talking about more classes today. So
Yes.
yeah, all that good stuff. But yeah, welcome back, Enderil. Thank you very much for the Twitch Prime, guys. So
should I bless these people?
oh,
Should
please
I-
do, please do. What are you casting on them today, Def?
I think today we're gonna do a well, you know what? Let's in honor of Al being here, we'll and I know I've been yelled at many warriors before in PvP. Dispel me, bro. We'll just do a dispel magic, a nice dispel magic. We'll try to dispel this corona off everyone. So you guys, I don't want to break anyone's speakers. So turn it down if you have to, because here we go. Good morning, Azeroth. That's right, baby. We're back with episode number 46 with Big Al.
The
Big
cleanest
Al.
execution on that. It peaked out for a little bit, but not too long, and then it came down. It was great, man. It was,
Nice.
yeah, man. Well, I'm hearing some initial reports. Sorry to be this is a little off topic, but I'm pretty shocked right now. Apparently, I'm getting initial reports that Dawkins' hardcore character just died at 50 something Paladin,
No.
which means my man Dawkins is going to
Shave
shave
his
the beard and the head. And go straight naked mole rat, straight Kargoz mode. You're gonna see Doc looking like a doppelganger of Misu.
No, he did not. How did he die as a
Apparently.
paladin?
I don't know, man. We have to go back. We have to go out. And if anybody has a death clip,
Oh
link
my
that.
god! If anyone has the clip,
Oh
please.
god, man, that's 50 something, man. He had apparently 10K on the line to get 60 there too.
Oh,
so.
oh my god! Pull up his stream! Pull up his stream right now!
He's already
No
bald.
way!
No
Oh
way!
my
Hold up!
God,
It's done. It's gotta be true.
No. All right. This is a shocking turn of events. We're about to do something real quick.
Can you pull up his stream on the
Yeah,
stream?
I'm doing. Just give me a second.
You look sickly, my man.
Give me a second, dude. What is it? This is TV
I
Dawkins?
don't know. I think it looks pretty good.
Let's see, let's see.
Looks badass, man.
No, Dawkins. What happened?
What is this?
bro?
Is it Dockin TV? Hold up, I'm freaking out.
It's Dockin_TV. Oh my God, Dockin, no.
No way, man.
No.
No, dude, hold
Oh
up.
my God.
Hold up.
What happened, Dockin?
Hold up, bro.
No.
Hold up, bro.
Was that the second highest level character to die in the hardcore?
Okay.
Hold up. This is insane.
I'm sorry.
You guys ready for this?
Okay.
Oh my God, Dockin did it, man.
No. Hold on. I gotta tell Belderon. Hold on.
Oh man, rest in peace, bro. He's a man of his word. He shaved the beard and the top part too.
Oh, no.
How long does it take to grow a beard like that too, bro? Probably like
Years.
I want to know how he did it, bro. He got the freaking weed. He got the
Dockin,
the
I
hedge
love
trimmer
you,
out.
bro. I love you, man. But 2 years, he said.
Wow. Rest in peace. Well, I think he died at 50 something. Damn. Yo, rest in peace, Dockin, brother.
Oh, he's gonna make a video of it. He said.
Damn, dude.
Oh my God, I can. What?
That's crazy, dude.
What?
Not gonna lie, he looks pretty Chad. There it is, Ramos with the kind words.
I thought
Okay.
I pulled up. I thought it was John Stats for a second. I thought we were looking at John Stats. I said,
Oh,
"Who is this
God.
guy? Is that Dockin or is that John Stats?"
Yo, what are you gonna do if your mage dies in hardcore, Defcamp?
Don't. If I shave, no, I'm not. No, no.
Yo.
You don't want to see me
Yo.
without hair.
Yo.
God.
What level is he, Defcamp?
32.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah, not bad, right?
That's crazy. I gotta see
Can't
that.
believe
death
it,
clip later.
Dockin. I love you though, Dockin. I'm so sorry you died.
Rest in peace,
But
man.
you know what, God, can we get some some love for Dockin because he actually went through with it and shaved his freaking amazing, beautiful Dimeback Darrell. Rip the Dimeback Darrell beard, the Dimeback Darrell beard, dude. That thing was beautiful. They used to call him the caveman.
Yep.
You know, the Chinese people that were on the server, they would just call him the caveman.
True to his word, man. True to his word. He actually shaved it all off, top and bottom. You hate to see it, Dockin. You hate to see it, man. You were so close, brother. You're so close.
Okay.
Golly.
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now.
Oh, man. But, yo, guys, look what I found. Well, it's not that I found. I bought these the other day, but I just want to show you guys on stream. I was reading these. I don't know if can you guys see them? I was reading these just before the stream, looking at them. So I went down to LA on this like kind of business trip thing, and I went to the store there, like kind of a little used goods store, like game store, and they had these for $1 each. These Burning Crusade, Brady Games battle chest guides. And they're
That's
actually
pretty cool.
they're actually kind of useful, man. They're explaining what all the different changes, new terminology to stats, critical rating, defense rating, dodge rating, haste, hit rating, parry, resilience. Explains it all in detail. Shows where every vendor is, everything in all the zones. These are pretty cool, man. But definitely takes me back when you read these physical copies, man. If we meet up at BlizzCon this year, I'll give you guys copies of these. Got a bunch of them.
Amazing.
If there is going to be a BlizzCon
I'd
this
love
year.
to have that.
Yeah, they're crispy too, man. They're super crispy. Yeah, you guys think there's gonna be a BlizzCon this year? I don't know, man. It's
I don't know.
November.
Doubtful.
Yeah, one day we'll meet up with Dunedain in real life too, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
looking
going.
forward
I'm
to
going to Belgium. I am going. But real quick, yeah, guys. ZG was announced for. Some people were asking in chat for April 15th. Yes.
So, yeah, there was plenty of news this week, WoW-related news or Blizzard-related news. Was ZG for Classic. We had some free transfers for both EU servers and US servers. And for those interested, we also had Shadowlands, big updates on Shadowlands actually.
Volpera are no longer in the game.
Sorry, no, that wasn't
everything
in
past
there.
Wrath of the Lich
that
King
was-
got retconned out.
Well,
I'm sorry. We're messing with you, Dunedain.
No, we're
Yeah.
actually happy to have a somewhat retail player here, guys, because it balances
Somewhat.
us out a little bit, right? It balances us out. Dunedain, please
That's
share with
probably
the
an
people.
overstatement, though. It's been over a year, I think, since I played retail, but I try to follow the news a little bit because I still have a slight hope that retail will ever become fun again. But I think Shadowlands is going in the right direction. So they added a lot of actually old moves like auras for paladins, for example,
lovely, guys.
and some
Keep
other
up the good work for
old
the
spells.
community.
Basically, for all
Lift,
classes,
rock, and
they added
respect.
like at least 4 to 5 spells that they used to have.
Yeah,
But the
one
thing
of the
is,
old favorites too.
yeah, the thing
Two-hand
is,
frost for Death Knights.
Here's the thing, though. I understand that, right? And you know what? They always friggin' say this before every expansion. I know you guys are wishful thinking, and maybe I'm being pessimistic, but they said the same thing before BFA. They say the same thing before Legion. Oh yeah, we're bringing back some buffs. They bring back Fort. They bring back this, that, the other. But it doesn't make a big difference. A lot of the things are very minuscule. They're very minor, and it's like they do it just to satisfy some people. But the feel
now,
never
this
really
isn't
changes
minor,
enough.
though.
I
But-
understand that. I understand that, but it ends up being minor. Like it sounds like it's going to be this big thing, and it ends up a lot of times just being this really small thing that really made no difference. The classes still feel homogenized. Things still feel.
It just feels overwhelming,
you know,
man. It feels like you step in there as a classic player, and it just feels so overwhelming. I don't know. It's
But I think that's because all the spells have way too many texts in them. So you read one spell, and by the time you read the fifth spell, you forgot what the first one did. So you basically it procs and it procs and it procs, and you have 1 million things.
I don't know if
going
you
on.
guys saw, but one of the changes they're actually adding to this as well is that they're going to reduce the spell graphics. So a lot
That's
of
already good.
Yeah,
there's
that's
a lot of
nice.
complaints about how there's like too much things happening. They have things that will make it so there's a lot like kind of less stuff happening now, like half as much. I think that's
Like
what they're
visually,
doing.
I would
Visually,
appreciate that. I always say that it seems like a Michael Bay movie when you get into combat, right? It's freaking explosions
Now,
and lightning effects everywhere.
and maybe help on the leg too.
Yeah, especially that. Now they can add all the auras and all the blessings and whatever. But as long as you have that rotation where you have procs out of procs and you don't really know what's going on unless you kind of study all
Well,
the spells.
Honestly, it's just like
that doesn't
the
feel
button
good.
That lights up. It's like click the button that lights up, and then you know you're
Yeah,
that's what
basically, but it's always the same thing, you know. It's
Yeah.
rotation from procs, and you can add 1,000 spells that bring flavor. But if that core proc system stays, I don't like the class design. So that's basically
Remember before Classic came out, Ale, we kind of had a little phase where we were playing retail a little bit and like I was trying to do some Iron Man stuff there, and you were actually raiding a little bit too. Like, how do you feel about retail?
I thought we were going to keep this secret.
Oh, dude, I just exposed you. But I feel like you might actually like retail a little bit. Or I'm not sure. Maybe not. Like, how do you feel about it?
I do, but I like it. I like it for different reasons. And after playing it, I felt like it. My understanding of what it was really changed because it's not the same sort of style of game as Classic. And in my mind, they're two different genres now. Like, the retail game has moved so much. It really isn't an MMO. It doesn't matter who you play with. Everybody's just like an NPC almost. It's more of like a loot shooter almost, like a solo player loot shooter. At least that's how I played it. And honestly, like it was good for what it was, but it doesn't feel like an MMORPG to me anymore. And so thinking about it in that mindset, I was able to find peace with it and be happy with it for like what it was. And it's when your expectations are something else and you don't get that, you're going to be upset. So my expectations now for it are different. I'm happy, I haven't logged in like months, but to, go in occasionally and, just blast something out and then, be done with it for a while. And as long as that's your expectation, it does very well for that. But if you're expecting that, that slow burn community, everything that we love with Classic, you're really not going to get that.
And the immersion element is
so
usually
to
missing.
go there to go there and to expect that and to want that, like, you're barking up the wrong tree. So
Well, I think
play it for what it's good at, and then play Classic for what you want from Classic.
I mean, I agree with you in a lot of that. I think that Classic and retail are completely different games, and I played retail all the way up until basically the end of Legion. I did the Mythic rating, I did the Mythic pluses and all that, and like I will say that I did enjoy some of the things for what it was, but I think the biggest issue that I have with retail WoW is the fact that for me, it doesn't have the longevity that I can play with Classic WoW with other games, because the main issue that I got is that I log into this game and I feel like I'm always doing busy work. I feel like I'm always doing things that my character is progressing, but I don't feel it as much as I would say, in another game like Classic WoW. And I understand that, and one thing that I did enjoy was that, at times I did feel challenged as like a healer, right? Where, doing a mythic plus 15, 16, whatever, it was challenging. There were, things that kept me going and wanted to see this. But then at the end of the day, when you're not feeling like you're being rewarded for the effort that you're putting in, that was the biggest problem that I did have with it. I can log on to retail and play for a couple hours, but the amount of time that it keeps me engaged is very, very, very low compared to just saying like Classic WoW and other games like that. And I think what the really main thing is, like, looking at retail, is that going forward, they have tried to make a lot of different people happy and tried to, incorporate a lot of different things. You have on one side, you have Volpera, you have on the other side, you have, Titan Forging, you have all these different, mythic, different grades, different styles for all these different places and different people. But I feel like they never really focus on one thing enough. And I feel like the biggest problem is retail doesn't know what it wants to be. It's trying to be so many different things.
That's a good point.
And you feel like you're like, it's just like you're walking around with it like a chicken with your head cut off in the whole time while you're playing this game. And I wish if they would just focus on one aspect of the game, whether that was you're making your character feel more powerful. And then, you have the things like, the level scaling that, which I think is completely detriment to an MMORPG. Again, like I said, retail isn't much of an MMORPG anymore. But what is it? That's my question. It's just like this
loot shooter, like you said.
10 different things. Yeah.
Here's my prediction, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the chat with this too. Like, this could be a possible way this plays out. Shadowlands is going to come out and get some hype with it, and it's going to get a little bit of momentum. But I do feel like TBC. We've said it before. I will say it again. We will continue to say it because until I see otherwise, all the data suggests that this is the case. TBC checks the most amount of boxes for the most amount of people. It still is like close enough to the original version of Classic that the Classic players can fuck with it and really like it, but it also scratches some of those retail vibes as well. And once TBC comes out and Blizzard releases TBC Classic, is it going to DOA Shadowlands? Like, is everybody just basically going to stop playing Shadowlands and go, or the majority of people on TBC will be the most popular played version? I think there's a good possibility that it could end up being like that.
I think so as well. Yeah. What do you think, Ayle?
I don't think so. I think there's still a strong enough competitive PvP scene as well as like raid scene that people will continue to play retail. That's a bold claim though. I don't know. I don't know if the only thing that can kill WoW is WoW. Maybe. No.
See, I think the main thing is that this is what I was talking about this last week, and Dunedain, I want to hear what you think about this as well, because if the big PvPers, right? So I'm talking about people like Venruki, Snuts, all the like Sea-Doo. These guys love TBC Arena, right? If they go and stop, and for whatever reason, if they stop and they're like, listen, Arena from Shadowlands is not doing it, and like all of them go back to TBC Arena, I think that would be huge for TBC. I think if a lot of these big PvPers go back and say, like, these are the glory days of Arena, I'm sure they'll continue doing the the retail thing for a while. But if they put most of their energy towards Arena and TBC, that could be a huge detriment to retail, and that could be a huge thing for TBC. I know, maybe even possibly seeing like TBC Arena in BlizzCon, things like that, like where the focus could be on potentially PvP in TBC with Arena coming out. I think it could be really huge, and if a lot of these big PvPers go ahead and make the switch from retail to TBC Arena, I think we could see a huge influx of people playing it and watching it as well.
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, but I think TBC is not the best arena that we ever had. So I don't think TBC Arena is the thing that we will see big PvPers come back to. At least not for esport events.
Interesting. Very spicy take there. Yeah. So you think the TBC Arena players, because a lot of PvPers went from retail to Classic, tried out Classic, and lost interest and like went back to retail, right?
Because there was no Arena. Exactly.
You think that same effect might happen with the retail Arena players now? They will come back, try TBC Arena, and go back there then?
Yeah, I think if you want like the high the best area for Arena, in my opinion, was probably Mist of Pandaria, but I liked Wrath of the Lich King more, so I'm gonna say Wrath of the Lich King, arena-wise, that is. And I think TBC was cool because it was new, Arena was new, everyone tried it, and people didn't really know yet. They learned, of course, but didn't really know what was good and what wasn't, but the balance isn't really good in PvP in Burning Crusade, so I don't think it will have a good shot at esports events. That's my 2 cents. It
Well,
might.
that's really interesting to say because a lot of people say, like, with Classic even, the game is different because the players are different. How is that same lens going to apply to TBC, right? If one class is strictly known as the best, say, like in, Season 4 Rogues, or say, does that mean that all arenas are just going to be rogues and that won't be fun? Like, is everybody going to min-max arenas so hard that they're only going to play what's good? That could come up if the balance is off, right?
I see. So that's interesting, right? Because, and we see this a little bit on private servers, right? Where I think something interesting is, a lot of people are still learning. Even when it comes to arena PvP, there's still some things that I even see, and I'm like, holy shit, this comp before, I didn't see it that much in BC, but now I'm seeing, like, the Red Resto thing. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people playing this comp. I'm seeing a lot of people playing different comps, and comps that primarily back in the day people didn't do, getting to a really high rating. I think, when it comes to retail arena, right? I think, there probably is more of a balance, definitely, that goes on there with. But then again, you have a lot of people like who say, okay, Monk is the best healer class because it has the most, movement. They're able to, move around much more than other classes. And I think, when it comes down to it, we're going to see people playing classes and specs that, primarily are the better. But I think a lot of people underestimate, TBC Arena. I got to say, like, it, in my opinion, it's not the most balanced. It's not the best, right? There are some issues, but I think honestly, like, it has some of the most surprising matchups that you will see because there's so many different abilities. There's so many different tactics that you can use, and the fights can be explosive. You can have two DPS against a healer and a DPS, and you can have someone who utilizes something so much better in this one instance where you have. Obviously, Resto Druids are amazing in 2v2 with Warriors, but Resto Shamans surprisingly are good. You have Resto Shamans, they might not be as good with Hosp, but they have Bloodlust, they have, in things in Arena. So I think there's a little bit more of a surprise element in TBC where things can actually, I think, still have an ability to learn and have new metas. Even though people have been playing TBC for a long time, I still think we're going to see a lot of.
I think so too. I really want to piggyback off this, guys. First of all, Alive, shout out to you, Alive. It was so fun doing that with you the other day, bro. Good to see you in here. Fitchty, thank you for the bits, guys.
Awesome,
type something in chat if you're alive right now, because this is it's funny that Alive's in here, but this is a point I want to at least throw out there and like to pause for dramatic effect, because this is something that you hear tossed around a lot. I want to get it out there and marinating in our minds. So classic WoW, vanilla WoW, private servers, Nostalrius, Elysium, Chronos, all these things, right? We started classic WoW with close to next to perfect information about the game. The values were a little bit off, but like it was already extremely theory crafted and stuff like this. What the point I'm making with this is that TBC in a 2.4.3 environment, there is way less theory crafting. There is way less like fresh understanding of the meta and exactly how the classes function and operate. So I don't know. People say 1.112 is one of the most balanced iterations of the game, like point blank period. All the classes are in a really good spot. I don't know if the same holds true for 2.4.3. Do we know the meta? Is it fleshed out 100% in its entirety? Was there a really high quality TBC server in the past that had values that wasn't the fun server, that had everything scripted properly and all this? I think hopefully with TBC coming, like there's going to be a lot of unexplored terrain to cover, even though we know some of the broad strokes of the classes.
Well. Yeah, I think honestly, like the amount of abilities that you have in TBC for some classes were the most in any other, like, wide range of abilities, right? You have people going in as Moonkins who, like something that's really like cool is with Druids. You can go into there as a Moon spec and still be a great healer, still utilize, so many different things up in your tool set. As far as priests and warlocks, and so you have so many amazing different things where you're using your whole toolkit, right? And it's similar where in Arena nowadays in retail, you know, you can go in there, you can switch your talents out for different things. You have more options a lot of times when you can really, you know, look at your PvP counts and things like that. However, in TBC, you have something I think that I like a lot better, whereas, you know, mana is much more a resource that needs to be guarded, and if you can get a drink and get out of combat, things like that. And yeah, there is no time limit, there's no you know, diminishing returns on the heals, things like that. So you get these really sometimes long games that are so just, you know, every little thing you're mismanaging. And I really do believe that TBC Arena has the capacity to be, you know, just as in depth. And you know, we all see how those really big pumpers who do classic PvP with all the different trinkets and engineering items, you know, the thought process that goes into it is amazing, right? So I honestly do think there's just as much of a skill cap, maybe not you know, as far as like talents and things like that, but when it comes to, you know, comps, and when it comes to, you know, exploring every class and their abilities, I think there's almost as high as a skill cap ceiling as there is in retail today. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what can be done. You know, I played a lot of Arena back in the day, and yeah, there was a lot of, you know, rogues and priests and mages, but I think with the knowledge comes, you know, some people trying out some new things. It's going to be really exciting.
Well, I said it wasn't really balanced, and I stand by that. But I thought a little bit about it. It's not fun to watch if everyone is playing the same comp per se. Let's say 90% of the people play the best comp there is around for a certain bracket, and you have the 10% trying to beat that. That's also something interesting to watch.
I mean, doesn't retail kind of do that too, though? I mean,
I guess so. I'm more like thinking of StarCraft, for example. There was an area where Terran were like the most OP class, and everyone had played it, and then you had that 2 or 3 Zergs in the tournament and 1 Protoss, and then they ended up winning the tournament. I mean, that's also kind of interesting in a way. It's different though, but it doesn't necessarily mean bad. But I still stand by the point. I don't think it will be the most watched PvP scene. I don't think.
Just to put one thought in to finish that up, absolutely, imbalances are what's exciting. If everything's too samey, then it's kind of like retail where nothing really feels exciting. You can't really do anything exciting because each person can't be individually overpowered. So to have things that are, you know, maybe a little bit, the pendulum swings too far one way, that's what creates the excitement, because then you have, you know, David and Goliath and underdogs and things like that. So I definitely agree. I'd rather have some things be a little bit imbalanced than to have it all be the same.
How do you feel about TBC? I don't think I've ever asked you this. Like, do you like it more than Classic? Like, 80% of my chat, whenever I poll, about 75-80% like TBC more than Classic. Kind of breaks my heart a little bit, but that's what they say. And also, if you are going to play TBC, which I assume you are, what class would you play?
Yeah, like I for sure, I really do like TBC. I think Classic for me has a slight edge. There are parts of TBC I like a lot more than Classic, such as like Arena and things like that. I'm definitely going to play it. I'm going to play multiple classes. I'm going to have a PvE character and a PvP character. So for PvE, I'm going to probably play Elemental Shaman, and for Arena, Mage or maybe Paladin.
Paladin's
maybe
a lot
Warrior
of fun,
if I can
man.
find some good partners.
It's sad. It's kind of, what classes go through the most change, you think? From I think Druid obviously goes through a huge change from
Rogue,
Classic
man. Rogue, like
Rogue?
massively, dude, massively. Probably more so than any other class, right?
In what sense? Like PvP
Really?
or PvE?
Not in PvE. I'm thinking from PvP perspective though. But not only do they get Shadow Step, you know, they also get Cloak. They also get Cheat Death. They just, like, people will tell you that the class feels the most. You get that effect of like, oh, you hear this expression shared a lot, right? Oh, they completed the classes. They completed the classes in TBC. I often hear people say they completed Rogue. Rogue feels like it has a fully functioning kit. Now,
I love it.
Rogue is extremely powerful in TBC, and in Classic WoW, the most played class is what? Warrior, I'm assuming, right? I mean, in TBC, it's going to be a Rogue. Like, I don't know if anybody thinks it's going to be different. I still don't think
I don't
Druid
think
is
it's
going
gonna
to
be the most played, but I think we're gonna see a lot of Druid.
a lot more Druids for sure, 100%. It is a very high skill cap class in general, though, Druid. But yeah, I definitely think Rogue's up there, though. What do you guys think? Is there another one that?
I think Rogue might be the. Yeah, I think you might be right with being the most played class in BC. I think their options in Arena, like in Arena, they're amazing, right? In a lot of comps, you can't go wrong with a rogue. The amount of CC, the shadow step kick, like just so many amazing plays. I love this skill cap in like to play a rogue okay, like mediocre is not that hard, but to play a rogue really well, like reckless level well, right, is an amazing thing to see. However, I think there's some other classes maybe that might go through. Rogue go through a big change. I was thinking though, like how Druids go from like being one of the worst healers to being one of the best. They go through a pretty getting Cyclone, getting Life Bloom, and Rogue does have a lot. But look at Hunters, right? Hunters go from being a pretty lackluster DPS to being an amazing DPS with Beast Mastery. You get Paladins, you come in there with and Ret becomes somewhat viable. Not too much of a change there, but yeah, I think Rogues, Druids, Hunters. I'm trying to think what else really has a big distinct change to it.
I feel like not really rogue. I wouldn't say rogue. I would say hybrid classes will be played more because the prospects become viable now.
Right.
People know that already. So I would say Paladin, Shaman, Druid. Druid probably less than the other two, but I feel like Paladin and Shaman get some real hype here.
Get ready for the Blood Elf Paladins. There's going to be a ton.
Oh, there's going to be so many, and they're so good. First of all, Arcane Torrent, amazing in PvP. It's just so good, dude. And AoE silence, right? Seal of Blood for PvE is amazing. And I know for a fact I'm making a Blood Elf Paladin. It's
not as your main though, right? You're still going Priest, man?
Not as my main. My main is going to be Priest 100%. I plan on playing Priest, Paladin, Rogue, and probably Shaman and BC.
What did we cover last week, yo? We should get into some classes. What did we do last week? I'm trying to remember. We did Paladin, I know, because they did.
We did Paladin, Shaman, and Druid. Paladin, Shaman, Druid. That's what we did.
We have Priest, Warrior, Rogue, Hunter, Warlock left.
Okay.
And I'm ready to talk about Priest if you guys are. And Mage, yes.
So we did Paladin, we did Druid, you said? Druid?
Yeah.
And we did Shaman. Oh, we didn't get through that many last week then. Okay.
We basically did the three hybrids.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can try to go through Priest pretty quick.
Let's let the chat vote, man. What do you guys want to see, chat? Let's do some engagement. I'll make a little straw poll super quick on it, and we'll try and.
Yeah, the Crusader Blood Elf Paladin is really good. However, he doesn't have. In PvP, Perception's pretty good.
And I just want to play Paladin in TBC.
Warlocks I think will be a big class played.
I think so, yeah. Especially on Horde side.
Yeah.
Here we go. Straw poll in the chat, guys. If you could be so kind to go ahead and vote on it.
What do you want to see next, guys?
Best here. Go ahead and vote.
Come on, yeah. Priest is looking.
Ooh, very split among all the classes. Priest and Warlock are tied. Oh God, you guys aren't making this easy, chat. All right, we're gonna
breaking my heart. But we gotta do Warrior on here today.
20,
oh, absolutely,
21.
absolutely.
Priest is there.
All right, we're gonna give it 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and refresh. Warlock. Okay.
You take it away, Kargoz.
All right, let's see what we can do here for Warlock. Let's pull up.
Seed of Corruption.
Yeah, let's pull up the talents. Should do that. I'll try and blast through it. Not take up too much of your time, guys. Here we go. TBC Warlock. Again, this is just the light and polite guys. Where not a TBC big brain myself. Did play back in the day. Didn't play Warlock back in the day, but pretty much one of my best friends to this day, Max, who's Max the Ripper in our guild. He transferred to Incendius, unfortunately. Long-time childhood friend, best friend type dude. He always played Warlock. He played Human Warlock in TBC, and we were in Kara week 1 together back during freshman year of high school when this all came out. And he played Warlock, and God, I was so jelly of him, man. Just watching his Warlock in TBC was just inspiring. I mean, I thought the Felguard looked just unbelievably cool. His gear, unbelievably cool. He was always a step ahead of me throughout TBC, and he has Nether Drake first and all this type of stuff. And Warlocks, I mean, in a nutshell, get a massive power level increase in TBC. If anyone wants to fight me on that, let's talk it out right now. But most people you'll talk to will tell you that they get a big power level increase. In PvE, they are doing some of the most damage in this version of the game. They really slap in PvE in a raid environment. They also conditionally, there's probably some conditions where mages will still outperform them AoE wise, but Seed of Corruption is let me see if I can look it up. I can pull up a database or something like that. You guys know what Seed of Corruption does, right? How would you explain Seed of Corruption to people?
It's basically you put it on a target and then it like explodes and it does like AoE damage.
Yeah, it can do like...
It's like a sticky grenade.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it does a mess. I mean, you can put it on multiple targets. And
Yep.
And it just boom, boom, popping bomb. It's almost like
there's a delay on it. It's like a ticking time bomb, and then
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the days of feeling like an inferior AoE, having inferior AoE capabilities as a warlock, we had a live on the stream. Was it yesterday when we did, or maybe 2 days ago? We did that warlock deep dive. You might think to yourself right now, to the untrained eye, oh, warlocks, they have hellfire, they have rain of fire, they do amazing AoE DPS, right? Amazing. It's still not really comparable to mages. Mages just spamming Arcane Explosion will do more DPS than them, and that actually ends up hurting you the most as a warlock when you're looking at overall raid total damage done when you're trying to parse really hard. Actually, these fights where you're AoEing stuff down and cleaving stuff down, you just have no way of keeping up with the warrior's cleave or the mage's cleave. So that where you really shine is in raids like raid tiers like AQ, and moving forward from AQ, where you can't pull the trash all together in huge clusters and sapper and cleave them all down. You have to fight 3 targets at a time, and it's because they have effects to them. So anyway, the point I'm getting is that you can actually outclass mages on the AoE front, which is pretty cool. Taking a look at their final towns down here at the bottom of each tree, we have probably my favorite out of all of them is Summon Felguard. Again, most good warlocks who played back in the day will tell you that in PvP, the Fel Hunter is still superior. I'm still on the same page with them. It makes sense, right? They're able to still do the Dispel offensive and defensive. It's just a fantastic utility type of pet. You have the blanket silence, you have the counterspell. So Fel Hunter is still pretty much what you're using in PvP, but apparently in some specific fives comps, you can run a Felguard, and it's actually good. The Felguard has really cool abilities. It has a cleave ability, so it just like a warrior cleave pretty much. It has a Blade Storm, super hype about the Blade Storm. It has an intercept, and it also has a taunt on it, and it is very, very chunky. Leveling with a Felguard, it just feels like a dream come true. The thing slaps so hard, you don't even need to use the taunt ability because it's just raw damage is holding the threat from the mob like very, very well. So Felguard, very, very cool. Unstable Affliction. This is something that is a very powerful damage over time. So it says Shadow Energy slowly destroys the target, causing 660 damage over 18 seconds. In addition, if the Unstable Affliction is dispelled, it will cause 990 damage to the Dispeller and silence them for 5 seconds.
So annoying.
As a priest, this is probably very, very troublesome for you, right? You know, the thing I'm looking forward to most if I do end up going Warlock, which I 99% will be the whole Hots and Dots type of team. I can't wait to find a good Druid or something where we can just, attrition out teams and throw up.
Or Shadow Priest lock is good too, man.
Yeah. What about trees? Shadow play, Druid, Shadow Priest, Warlock?
Yep.
Absolutely. Do you guys? Let me stop for a second. Do you guys have any initial thoughts on Warlock? Talking a lot.
SLSL, dude, is just like insane, right?
I don't know a lot about Warlock. I never was interested in playing one in vanilla, but in TBC, it's actually not on top of my list, but it's in the top half of my list. So that's something, because it's not a class that really suits me fancy wise, but I really just like all the different abilities, the talent trees. The Shadow Play is something I would like to do in the arena, and for that reason alone, I would probably try level up a Warlock. And I like Destro. I don't know if Destro is good in
PvE. It's apparently the best spec. That's what you use in PvE. I don't know if in PvP.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't really. Sorry?
I'm sorry.
Well, demonology is not my thing, but Destro is. If I want to play caster in PvE one day, it's probably Destro Warlock over any mage spec, I think. So yeah, Warlock really does it for me in TBC. I like it a lot, and kind of interesting. It's probably top 3, top 4 for me.
That's what's up.
I used to watch this guy called Kobrak, and he used to play like Destro in PvP in like every expansion, and he was like really good at it.
I remember Kobrak, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that dude. Absolutely.
So there's the SLSL build, the most feared probably build that there is.
Yeah, this could be, you know, incorrect.
working.
I haven't exactly, you know, got the exact spec down, but the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that you have enough points in a TBC environment to go deep enough down the Affliction tree to pick up Siphon Life, which is an awesome thing in PvP to have, and Soul Link as well. So you're just a very, very chunky, you know, very, very chunky Warlock. You're very beefy indeed, and this would be something like this would probably be my preferred spec. You have some really nice talents like Demonic Resilience, reducing the chance to be critically hit by melee and spells by 3%, reduces all the damage your summoned demon takes by 15. So this is like Resilience, like it's similar to the Resilience stats, but most classes have something like this. They have these PvP talents nestled down there, like tier 6 or
so.
Yeah.
Just quick, I see that you don't go to the 41 talent, and many people say in TBC specs are worse than in vanilla, because in vanilla you can do those hybrids like you do here, and in TBC you're kind of forced to go to the 41 because it's basically always a very good talent, but now you did different, and I like that. So what's your take on that?
Well, it's good. You're really just, you can't have that much of your cake and have that and be able to eat it too. So you're not going to be able to get this 41 talent and also get Siphon Life if you're going to get Soul Link. I don't think you have enough points. Also, you're not really using Fel Guard, and you're going to be using your Fel Hunter. So this is kind of negligible, this talent, if you're going to be doing 2s or 3s or something like that. But yeah, I still think in TBC, right, guys? I don't know. I mean, you still have these hybrid specs, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like, I mean, you guys know your own classes.
For some classes, I mean, a lot of classes go down, like Dunedain said, to the last talent point, but it's very rare sometimes where you have a class that doesn't.
So it's interesting that Warlock is one of those. For Paladin, you kind of have to, if you go red or protection or holy, it doesn't matter. You kind of have to go to the last point, except if you want to try something like Shokadin, I guess, then you can do something different.
Yeah, like Priest, for you want Circle of Healing for Holy, you know what I mean?
Someone already pointing out a nice point. They say get 1 point in this thing to the left of Siphon Life. Interesting. Shadow Embrace. Your Corruption, Curse of Agony, Siphon Life, and Seed of Corruption spell also cause Shadow Embrace to affect the Shadow Embrace effect, which reduces physical damage caused by 1%. I feel like this is something that would be Dispel fodder. So you throw up your buffs and you get an extra thing. I'm not sure if you can Dispel Shadow Embrace, but that's probably why. The fact that you're pointing that out. Yeah. So again, I haven't really played Warlock in TBC. I'm on Endless right now as a Druid, as a Night Elf Druid. So I'm very much looking forward to playing a Warlock in TBC. It'll be 99%. You know what I'm gonna go. It's either that or Druid. I'll probably level both at some point, but I do want to continue on my Kargoz character in TBC. I'm very, very excited about. So yeah, let's see what else I can talk about on Warlocks. The sets look phenomenal. I mean, dude, the sets, all of the sets look insanely cool. I'll pull them up here in a second. Destruction, you know, I don't really know how good Shadow Fury is. I'm really not sure. I mean, I feel like you raid as Deep Destro, right? So you got to be using Shadow Fury as an AoE type thing. It's I'll read it for you. This is the final talent here in the Destruction tree. Shadow Fury is unleashed, causing 357 to 422 shadow damage and stunning all enemies within 8 yards for 2 seconds. So I mean, if you're pulling trash or you're doing cleave, I feel like this is something you probably cycle into your rotation. I know that you don't really go Destro for PvP though, so again, I'm not exactly sure how super amazing this is, but let's see. So PvE, couple steps up. We, you know, damage wise, maybe not utility wise, I'm not sure, but I mean, your damage definitely goes up in PvE. More AoE damage, more single target damage. You start slapping really hard. Is it safe to say they're a tier 1 DPS class in TBC?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Together with Hunters early on, and I think Warlock stayed for the entirety.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, very strong. And early on, originally in TBC, the early seasons, they were also very, very strong. And I think at some point they added changes to resilience to hurt dots. So they became kind of less strong as the expansion went on, but originally they were just beasts. Yeah,
so we will be launching in a 2.4.3 environment. So that dot effect, because resilience, if you guys don't remember, I recently remembered this. Resilience will actually reduce dot damage as well, and also drain effects as well. So like a drain life or a drain mana will also reduce the efficacy of those as well. So I have this. There's this amazing content creator out there. He doesn't talk or anything. He just goes straight matter of fact type of content. But he does. Where is it? Here it is. His name is Protcow.
Oh yeah.
And he has a really good video that shows. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I'm just pausing it under Here we go. Yeah, so here's his this to supplement my small brain here. I want to read some of the points he has here. For Affliction Warlock, Shadow Embrace, which is interesting. We're just going through this. So so Affliction Warlock does have some utility to a raid environment or a party environment, increasing physical damage caused by 5%. Also in TBC, someone said in the chat last time, what is it, 40 debuff slots or something like that? Some absurd amount. Where
it's crazy. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Malediction, increasing the damage bonus effect of your Curse of Elements by 3%. Curse of Elements, that was there before. Soulstone. Ritual of Souls. See, this is why I love you, Broadcat, dude. Remember the freaking Soul Well? The cookie well, whatever you want to call it. Everyone get a Hellstone from the.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's nice. That's nice. Same with the Ritual of Refreshment for the mages, dude. That's super clutch. So you got to have that. Demonology, we have we have ISB, we had that in Classic. Let's see, what else? And then he has for Destruction, Nether Protection. After being hit by a shadow or fire spell, you have a 30% chance to become immune. Interesting. Soulstone. Alright, that's about it. So I think that's it for Warlock. Last thing I want to do is I just want to pull up their armor set real quick.
Tier sets, yeah.
Because they look amazing.
Oh! THC Force Ghost with a big dono.
Man, dude, Force Ghost, keeping a roof over my head for real. Thank you very much, dude, for the 50, bro. Thank you very much, dude.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, the big supporter of the channel, man. Big THC Force Ghost, man.
Great info, guys, supporting the community and F's in chat for Duck, and what a great run we read heart.
I think I found it.
You man.
Let's see here. I think I found it. Okay. Stand by.
Oh, the tier set?
Yeah, just pulling up the raid sets right now, so we can take
Warlock tiers are.
Give the one with the crazy headpiece, though.
What's it, tier 4? You mean? With the Void Walker looking headset.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, where is it? Hold up, a little bit slow here. Okay. All right, we have it up. Scroll over to the right.
Oh yeah.
Okay, second.
What do you guys think? Al, vote yours for tier 4, 5, or 6. Which ones? What are your favorite?
For Warlock, definitely tier 6.
I think everyone's gonna say that, isn't it?
I mean,
if you see it in action.
I like tier 5 best.
Do you remember the wings though?
I know the wings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I never really liked the headpiece, honestly.
All right, here it is. I don't know if you
guys... on gnomes. I hate that headpiece on a.
But you hate gnomes, so.
Yeah, it's just so big on their stupid little heads.
Well, they all are definitely very distinct from everything else, which I like.
I might like 4. I feel like tier 4 screams like Affliction Warlock.
But the headpiece, kind of bothers me.
Tier 4 screams Affliction. Tier 5 screams like Demo, and tier 6 screams like Demonology.
So the ones we're talking about, guys, is the one second over to the right. If you see the one farthest to the right is Warrior, right? These are the iconic Warrior sets. The one just to the left of the Warrior is the Warlock. As you can see, they put a lot of time and energy. Every set feels very inspired. Even that first set at the very top, you can't see because it's a still image, but it almost has like a moving face. Like particle effects or something when you see one in game.
Walker.
Yeah. I think it looks really cool. You know, the big shoulder pads. That's one thing that always made me like Warlocks when I looked at them, is they didn't, even though they were a caster, they didn't look like some soy boy. Like they look actually pretty strong. Like they have nice big shoulders and like just, I don't know, the cool looking armor sets. Like they didn't look flimsy. Like and that was one thing. They're a caster, but they're tanky. So it really like attracts me to the Warlock class in that respect. And now I'm looking at the bottom. It looks a little bit Power Rangery right now. I think it's because it's on a human, but that bottom set is very flashy. Big ass wings come out of the back of it. I don't think it does anything though, right? It's just cosmetic, but it just looks super cool. So I think that's it for Warlock. Sorry, it took me a minute to bring that up. What else? Is there anything else I should cover on Warlock? PvP, PvE. Leveling, very strong.
Yeah, I think we covered it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems good.
All right. So we're doing, let's see here. Priest was the next one after. We'll do Priest and then Warrior after. Hopefully we can get through all that. So
I think Hunter was in top 3 as well.
Yeah. I just want to at least Priest and Warrior, just because we have the subject matter experts here. So we're going. Okay, so let's warm the people up to Priest, Defcamp. Like, what should they know about Priest going into TBC?
Well, I'll talk about how first, like, why Priest, spoke to me. So I was playing my Rogue. I played my Rogue most of vanilla, and seeing a Priest a lot of, I was like, kind of want to try healing. I really love Shadow as well, and I started making my Priest towards the end of vanilla. And luckily, when TBC came out, and I completely fell in love with this class. So one of the main things that you'll see from vanilla to TBC is, Shadow becomes a lot more represented. I feel like Shadow is in a much better place in TBC than it was in vanilla, right? So let's talk about Shadow first, because that was my first experience going Shadow. Shadow, an amazing leveling spec in vanilla, and an amazing leveling in TBC as well. So obviously you still have Spirit Tap. You get 100% Spirit regeneration after killing a mob, which just never basically have to drink. You get an amazing you get Fear, you get Silence. But one of the really cool things being a Shadow Priest is, for instance, you get Vampiric Embrace, which gives you healing back. One of the biggest things about Shadow Priest in TBC is you get another dot called Vampiric Touch, right? So what it does, I'll just read the tooltip. Causes 450 shadow damage over 15 seconds to your target, and causes all party members to gain mana equal to 5% of any shadow spell damage you deal, right? So all the shadow damage you deal, whether it's from Mind Flay, Mind Blast, Shadow Word Death, which is another thing you get, Shadow Word Pain, all that damage you're doing is getting 5% mana to everyone in your group. So imagine having a Shadow Priest with Vampiric Touch, you have a Shaman, say, with Mana Spring Totem, and say you have Paladins now as well with Blessing of Wisdom. That's so much mana you can get back, at one time, and you can go much longer in fights. Shadow Priests are very much wanted for this reason. Now,
so can I ask? I think I remember that your wand, if it's a shadow wand, that works as well. Is that right?
So it does not do. It does not do that, as far as I remember. It does, however, benefit from shadow weaving. So if you have shadow weaving up on the target, it will give you the extra damage from that. But so a shadow wand doesn't work back from Vampiric Embrace or Vampiric Touch, as far as I remember. But yeah, Vampiric Embrace as well. So that would be the healing. So another big thing about Shadow Priest is like a reason why they're brought to raids a big time is because they increase the shadow damage over Warlocks. Now remember, Warlocks do a shit ton of damage in BC, right? So you're getting 10% of your spell damage increased with with Shadow Weaving, right? So your shadow damage spell have a 100% chance to cause your target to be vulnerable to shadow damage. This vulnerability increases the shadow damage you deal by 2%, lasts 15 seconds, stacks 5 times, so it's 10% right there, right? But in TBC, Shadow Priest gets something called Misery. So your Shadow Word Pain, Mind Flay, and spells also cause a target to take additional 5% spell damage. So on top of the 10% you get from Shadow Weaving, all casters now, no matter if you're a Mage, a Warlock, a Boomkin, will benefit from that 5% spell damage. So, Elemental Shamans, Mages, Warlocks, everyone gets a flat, which is basically like a Nightfall proc, right? A flat 5% spell damage bonus right there from Shadow Priest, on top of the extra 10% from Shadow Weaving. So very good in helping your group, right? Like, they're just so beneficial to have in a group. Some different spells you get. So Shadow Word Death is such a fucking awesome spell. Shadow Word Death is basically like an execute for priests. You use it, and if it kills a target, it does not do damage to you. However, if it does not kill the target, it does damage to you. I think it's 50%, something like that, of the damage. Something really cool. So every priest gets this, no matter if you're Shadow, Discipline, right? It's
you get the full damage, actually. Looking at it right now. I actually finally have the database up. Okay. Yeah.
So, but the really cool thing about this is if you're dueling a mage or fighting a mage in arena or PvP, you can basically Shadow Word Death the mage at the very last second when he's about to polymorph you, and you can basically take that damage right after he polymorphs you, so that you can do it and to get out of polymorph. It's actually not that hard a time if you do it right towards the end of the cast. It's something really fucking cool to do. You basically can get out of polymorph whenever that's up. So it's really
super high
cool.
skill.
Yeah,
You can do it
It's
in
actually-
any CC if you time it right.
any CC if you time it right, exactly. Any CC that would repentance, right? If you were even though repentance is an instant cast, it's pretty hard to do, but it's really cool, an amazing thing to do. So.
It's also one
Shadow
of those
Priest.
things too that like one of the things the priests are missing in classic WoW. It's those things where we were talking about before. Blizzard is rounding out the classes and specs a little bit more. That they're missing an instant damage type of thing like this, right? So
Yeah,
giving them depth
absolutely.
just fills
Yeah.
in the gap there a little bit like that. Yeah.
And it's whether you're in arena, right? I'm going to say in arena, whether you're discipline or shadow, you're going to be using shadow or death a lot, just because it's an instant cast damage. It puts some, if you have prayer of mending on yourself and you use that, the mending will jump to another target. So it's a way to get mending to jump to someone as well. If you're thinking about it like that, it's also just a good amount of damage to just keep pressure a lot, because even as a priest, you're going to be damaging. Especially if you're in a 2v2, you're going to have to push and do some damage sometimes.
Speaking of
but
mending, that's a really flashy.
Prayer
fun
of mending is
dude.
one of my favorite things.
the noise too, right? It's like doing like a little gong noise or something.
Yeah. But so sticking to shadow, like in PvP, shadow is amazing. In twos, you can do a lot of. There's still probably one of the best classes 1v1 in the Burning Crusade as well, just because you have the healing, right? The healing back. So Vampiric Embrace, and if you're putting 2 points extra in there, you get 30%. Base 20%. Base in TBC is 15% of your shadow damage spells. But if you put 2 points in it, you get additional 10, which will give you 25%. And I'm telling you guys, if a priest, when you watch a priest stay alive in vanilla, it's mostly because of Vampiric Embrace. The amount of healing you can get from it. So in vanilla, it is 20%. So they get actually a little bit of a nerf to it in TBC. You lose 5%. So it might be worth putting in those extra 2 points, but the amount of healing you get from it is just insane. You also get Shadow Fiend, right? This is so nice. It's basically a
class pet class confirmed.
Yeah, right. It's basically a little shadow pet that whenever it hits the target, it gives you mana back. And I'm trying to remember the exact amount of mana. I'm going to see if I can pull it up right here. Shadow Fiend.
Is the damage negligible? Is it like a meme?
The damage is it is not negligible. It's almost like dot.
That's pretty sick, dude. So the
if
damage
you're
is
really
actually
trying to
real.
pump on someone as an undead priest, you can go Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain, Devouring Plague, Shadow Fiend, and only undead have Plague. However, all priests now have Fear Ward, even though it's been kind of nerfed a little bit. But all priests now have Fear Ward. However, there are other abilities like Chastise, for instance, is something that Dwarf gets, which is really cool. It actually
and Draenei.
And Draenei, it roots the target in place, basically making them not able to move.
Did you know about this one, Ayle? No, barely anybody knows
Chastise,
about this shit.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing that you should mention is that all the priest racials get kind of readjusted during TBC.
Yes,
So
yes.
every priest gets Fear Ward, and due to that, dwarfs actually get chastised because
And Draenei, always got to shout him out.
Yeah, and they also still
Yeah.
have
each priest class or each priest race gets two different. Well, some of them are the same racial abilities, which is really cool.
Yeah, and they also have the self heal, which is just
Desperate Prayer.
Desperate Prayer, which is really nice, for healing, and even as a shadow priest. But shadow is just absolutely insanely powerful in TBC. It's amazing in PvE. It's amazing in PvP. Your Shadow Fiend, all your different flavorful abilities. If I were not so in love with Holy, I would probably go Shadow, just because I really feel like they gave it a bit of an extra umph. You can do a lot more damage in the Burning Crusade than you would have in your mana regeneration is a lot better, especially with having Vampiric Touch. But Holy, so.
Well, one thing on Shadow, real quick, I wanted to point out is that in Classic, Vampiric Embrace or whatever, it heals people in a party based on based on the damage you do, shadow damage you do, right? All I'm saying is in TBC, the amount of mana, I think it's mana you get back or something, like is directly related to the amount of damage you do as well.
Touch.
Yeah,
so it's 5%. It's 5% mana equal to your shadow spell. So the more shadow damage you're doing, the more mana you're getting.
So you're probably going to gear really fast as a Shadow Priest, because if you're trying to like loot council or whatever and allocate gear so it makes the most impact, gearing your Shadow Priest out helps the raid a lot. Like there's a direct incentive to gear them out, because the more damage they're doing, the more mana everyone's getting, the more healing everyone's getting, and then so
and 5% might not sound like a lot, but you got to think about it. If you're doing your Mind Blast is hitting for thousands of damage, and your all your dots, the mana really starts to add up over time, especially when you got to think now you have Blessing of Wisdom, you have Mana Spring Totem. All these things added up is a lot of mana coming back, and it's really, really, really beneficial to the raid. Really nice. I love a nice Shadow Priest in raid. And they can do a pretty decent amount of damage. I remember I spec Shadow and Zul'Gurub, and I was doing ZA, and I was like the top DPS in that group. The other DPS weren't that great, but
from what I remember, I thought Shadow was like one of the lower DPS classes, a little bit like Boomkin, like we discussed.
So here's the thing: it's definitely on the lower end, but the lower end has been pushed up a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
It's nothing like vanilla, but it's more like a mana battery. It helps everyone else, just like Boomkin buffs the group in the raid. Shadow Priests does the same thing.
There are some times where you might see a Shadow Priest doing. I mean, they do not as bad as it was in vanilla. So
yeah, and there's some cool raid builds as well built around them. Like you can actually run multiple arcane mages with Shadow Priests that will really buff their damage because they're so mana hungry. There's certain things like that where there's times that like having a Shadow Priest with other certain specs will greatly increase the damage that your overall raid does.
And remember, they're not just giving your group mana back. They're giving every caster in the raid.
No, it's raid. Is it raid? I thought it was party.
No,
yeah, it's a debuff on the boss.
Right.
Misery. I'm talking about misery. Misery and Shadow Weaving are debuffs on the boss, right?
Yeah.
So Shadow Weaving is, like I said, it goes up to 10%.
The Vampiric Touch is just party though, right?
Yeah, Vampiric Touch and Everest is party. However, the debuffs they put on their boss is Shadow Weaving and Misery. Misery is a flat 5% spell damage to every class, no matter if you're a mage or anything, right? It's 5% spell damage. And then on top of that, they also give 10% shadow damage with Shadow Weaving.
Well, and Shadow Weaving in vanilla is 15% though, isn't it? So
stacks 5 times 10%. Hold on.
Oh, is it 10% in vanilla too? Someone will know.
No, it's 3% every.
So it's 15 in vanilla.
It's 15,
so they did kind of nerf it a little bit, but you still get it through misery anyway, though. Yeah. So you get the same amount.
So it's better for basically like other classes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Warlocks still get the same. They still get 15%, but all the classes get 5 as well. So
makes sense, yeah.
When you add it up, right? So okay, let's go to Holy real quick. So this real quick, Holy Priest in TBC is by far my favorite spec in all of WoW.
Really?
I absolutely love it. I love the way it plays. I love the healing. I love everything about it.
Favorite talent in the Holy Tree? Is it Circle of Healing?
Circle of Healing, dude. Circle
Coincidentally,
of Healing, absolutely. It played Holy Tree. TBC too.
Oh, did you do that? Oh yeah, you said that, huh? Yeah.
So I'm gonna just run through like my spec real quick. So if you want to pull up the talent as well on stream, I can.
We got talents up.
Okay. So what I do, and now remember, so healing focus is great, but remember we will have paladins in our raid, so you're gonna get concentration aura. So healing focus isn't as important as it usually was before, because now we have paladins with concentration aura, which will help with the pushback as well. So you could go ahead if you want to and put your first 3 points in improved renew. I'm just going to do this for like a say a raid for.
Show us your favorite spec in the history of WoW.
Yeah, this will be my favorite. So we put 3 in improved renew, 5 in holy specialization,
all right,
5 in divine fury, which reduces the casting time of your smite, holy fire, and your heal spells by 0.5 seconds.
Hell yeah.
1 point in Holy Nova, just because Why not?
Oh
It's
yeah,
fucking
why the hell
amazing.
not? Awesome spell.
3 points in inspiration increases your target's armor by 25% after getting a heal. That's why it synergizes very.
Was that in classic? I
specialization.
thought this was a shaman
Yes,
thing in
yes, it
classic.
was.
Oh, it
No,
was okay. All right.
Shamans and priests are the only ones who
I
give
see.
the 25% buff.
Gotcha.
So then you're going to put 3 points in improved healing.
Improved
You are
healing.
going to put 1 point in Spirit Redemption, and here's why. Spirit Redemption no longer just gives you Spirit Redemption. In TBC, it also gives you 5% base, 5% Spirit. So I just had the vanilla.
That's
one up. I was doing
awesome,
it by
man.
accident.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know that. So there's a
So,
passive benefit.
If you
just
read
taking
it,
this.
yes, you get increases total Spirit by 5%, and upon death becomes a Spirit of Redemption for 15 seconds. So you're getting that 5% Spirit, which also synergizes great with the next thing we're going to go is 5 points in Spiritual Guidance, which increases spell damage and healing by up to 25% of your total Spirit. Then we're going to put 5 points in Spiritual Healing, which gives you a flat 10% increased healing to all your healing spells by 10%. Now, this is one of my favorite things.
You
in the
getting
whole tree.
Lightwell? You're getting Lightwell, aren't you?
No, we are not getting Lightwell. We are going
Oh.
right left of Lightwell. Holy for this Kargoz,
What's that?
you have a clear casting now as a Holy Priest. You have a 6% chance to enter a clear casting state after casting any Flash Heal, Binding Heal, or Greater Heal spell. The clear casting state
It's
reduces
kinda
the mana
like
cost of
Pally's.
your next
Yeah, a little
Flash
bit, yeah.
Heal, Binding Heal, or Greater Heal by 100%. So yeah, Pallies have Illumination, but technically, Priests are the only healers that have a clear casting proc like this. Other classes have other ways of doing it, like Paladins like have Illumination. But getting that clear casting proc on a Holy Priest is one of the most amazing things. Clear casting now you can use a max rank greater heal if you want to. It's just
Wait.
very, very.
Here's one question though for the chat too and everything. They did nerf downranking a lot though in TBC, which is something that
Yeah,
I'm
so-
honestly not a fan of. I think I actually like downranking. A lot of people hate it. for
Here's
some
what
reason,
you do as a priest, pretty much in BC.
Okay.
Use rank 1 greater heal and max rank greater heal. There's really no need to go in between there. Rank 1 still has a lot of HPME. It's a low mana cost with high yield, especially when you
So
get
you still downrank.
about
in
you still
TBC.
down rank with greater heal, yes, because especially once you're over about 1,000 healing power, which is pretty easy to do in TBC. That rank 1 greater heal is still very, very, very mana efficient and has pretty high HPME. So you still use a rank 1 greater heal, use a max rank greater heal sometimes, very rarely. Rank 1 greater heal is actually your biggest go-to heal in TBC as a priest, because now we're going to put 1 point in Holy Reach. It's going back up there, and I'll show you why.
Real quick,
So
why no Lightwell though? Is
Yeah.
Lightwell really that
Okay,
bad?
so here's the thing about Lightwell.
Because you can just put
No
it
one
before the
fucking
fight.
clicks it.
Oh, okay.
No one fucking clicks Lightwell.
Okay.
Okay? You could put that 1 point in there. I think it's way more beneficial to get an extra 10% reach on your Holy Nova, Circle of Healing, and Prayer of Healing, especially now that you're going to be using a lot of your Holy Nova. I'm sorry, not of your Holy Nova, of your Circle of Healing and Prayer of Healing, because, you have these beautiful AoE heals that you can now go outside of your party. You're not limited to your party anymore like you were in vanilla. You can Circle of Heal like outside your party. It doesn't have to be, in your party. So it's much better to have that little bit of extra range. I would put that 1 point in Holy Reach. Lightwell, let's read it, right? Creates a Holy Light member as a play while restoring 801 health over 6 seconds. It's another hot, basically.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
damage will cancel the effect.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, there's some limitations to this, yeah.
Yes.
And only 5 charges, too. Only 5 charges
Yes.
on it.
It is absolute dog shit, okay?
It was wasn't it pretty good on what was it? Not Cruel's Mecteridon, I think.
I
There wa-
honestly never used it. Never.
I did.
I think I used it once. I mean,
I would
but here's
almost
the
get
thing,
that shit
is-
for the RP value, dude. It's too cool. You get to make a little, like, holy well wherever you go.
I mean, like at the end of
Very
the
mana
day,
efficient though.
it is. But remember, any damage taken.
Hmm. I
Any
think there
damage
was. I think
stops
it was
the effect.
Mecteridon, but I might be wrong. But I think there was a boss where you had to go out of combat for like a few seconds.
Yeah, I
6
mean, you're
probably, or
honestly
longer.
better off just putting a renew on someone. Like, why not just? Yeah, it's mana efficient. No one
Mhm.
fucking clicks the light.
It's also
honestly.
GCD efficient, right? But I remember the big issue with Lightwell. I think it was kind of the design of the spell as well, is that either nobody clicked on it, where one person clicked on it 5 times
Exactly.
and then ate all the charges.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
it puts a hot on you, right? And so
Yep.
you don't really notice. I don't remember there being like a really great sound effect.
No,
to know that
it's
you're
like
doing it.
it's kind of like it's very not.
It's very like
Yeah.
unknowing. So people would often like double click, triple click, or just click until it was gone, and just eat all the charges, and it was just a huge.
What if
lot
you
of
were a
charge and
priest
it's
and you
gone.
said no one touched my light well, and before the fight starts, you throw it down right next to it. It lasts 3 minutes, so it'll be there for the whole fight. And anytime that you it makes sense where you can get 6 seconds value of the hot, like where you just don't have to worry about your own health.
I
if you're taking
honestly
damage.
think you're going to get more value out of that 1 point with Reach than you
With Holy Reach, okay.
just
I don't know.
because, in my opinion, in my experience, I've healed a lot in BC. I did every raid. Having that one little point in Holy Reach that's going to give you is going to be way more beneficial than fucking Lightwell. I'm telling you guys, no one clicks on it.
Gotcha.
It's a fucking meme.
It's a fucking
It is
meme.
Hey
fucking
man,
meme.
make
Yeah.
Lightwell great again.
Make light one.
I would
great
love
again.
to. I would love to.
There's got to be some
So-
weird niche application that's worth 1 point. It's too. The RP
I mean-
value is too strong, bro. You got to take it. for Holy
Listen,
Priest, bro.
Kargoz, if you want to
For
take
ethical
it, go ahead.
purposes, bro. For ethical purposes.
Take
You
it.
have to
Take
get
out.
light
Take the
one.
one out of Holy Reach if you want to.
What about the boss in Black Temple that casts Blood Boil? Do you remember his name? Remember that?
You think of the Death Knight dude?
No, he's the guy at the bottom. He's the giant red orc guy.
What's his name?
Girtha.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah, it's still not.
He does huge AoE damage. I remember Circle of Healing Priests were amazing on that fight.
It's so good.
I
That's
don't know,
what
like,
I'm
how
saying
good
though.
Lightwell is.
Like, so that little bit of extra reach, for that 1 point of Holy Reach of Circle of Healing is actually important when you're healing melee and people are in other groups. You want to make sure you might get that little bit of extra range. That one extra heal that you're getting from Holy Reach, possibly I think is more impactful than having Lightwell. So.
The cool thing from the outside looking in, Defcamp, at Circle of Healing, it's sick though. It kind of makes you feel like a shaman a little bit with Circle of Healing. Like you
Dude,
get this AoE
guys,
kind of like chain.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you love
it. Let's do first. We're gonna do 5 points in empowered healing, right?
Okay, yeah, got that.
So this is really good. So your greater heal spell gains an additional 20. This is why rank 1 greater heal is still so good, right? Because not only do you get 10% from spiritual healing and you get spiritual guidance, but now your greater heal is getting additional, and your flash, but your greater heal is getting a 20% additional healing, while flash heal and binding heal are getting 10%. Now let me talk about binding heal for a second. Binding heal is a fucking slept on heal. It's
I don't
amazing.
even remember that one, bro. Where's the movie?
Binding heal heals your target and yourself. Okay, in PvP, binding heal is so fucking good. In
Binding
PvP2,
heal. Let me pull it up.
yeah, go ahead and
Bro, I
read
honestly
it. and
feel
pull
like,
it up real
be
quick.
honest, who remembered about this ability, guys?
I fucking love it, dude. I think binding heal is a very slept on heal.
Let's see here.
So
1.5
something
second
really
cast.
cool.
Sorry.
Yep.
Good.
Read the mana cost as well.
705 mana, so that's pretty.
Right.
pretty
So it's a
low.
little bit more than a flash heal, like max rank, but you're healing 2 people, right? Yourself and the person that you're targeting. So in PvP, where maybe you and this person are getting hit, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta heal him or me. Like, no, you don't have to pick. You can heal, both people with 1 heal. It's really good, really good heal. There are some cases in PvE where you might use it if you're low and say someone else is. You can heal, together. But I really do think it's a slept-on heal that not a lot of people use enough, especially in PvP. It is just amazing. So, well, what this talent does is, 20% additional to your greater heal, 10% additional to your flash heal and binding heal, which is honestly why greater heal rank 1 is still so good.
And I don't even know if you know this, Ayle, but just to shill for Defcamp again, for those of you watching right now, if there is anyone new, Defcamp actually did Arena and got Glide one of the seasons back in TBC. So, like, I would 100% take what he's saying very, like,
So,
very
and the
to
thing
heart.
about binding heal, too, is, like, really important, is, like, people don't realize, like, sometimes, okay, if you're in a setting where you're fighting, like, 2 melee or, or fighting a range and a melee, like being able to heal yourself and your target at the same time, that one global where say you need to put a renew on yourself or someone's about to die, like binding heal can literally save your ass in so many situations. Putting a shield on yourself, throwing out a quick binding heal, like it is such a powerful heal to be able to heal yourself and that target in the same heal without using a crazy amount of mana, like using a prayer of healing, which is a way longer cast, way more healing, and I think honestly it doesn't even really heal like as much. So in PvP, Binding Heal is your fucking friend, especially if you're both taking damage in a 2v2.
Yeah.
Very, very good heal.
Very, very good anti-cleave, especially with prayer mending.
Yes.
Like those two, prayer mending
Yeah.
super efficient, and binding heal like saves your bacon. Where you don't have to choose to heal them or you if you're each like getting damage.
Exactly.
Right? You do both.
Now, there's no, I mean, in a cleave group where you shouldn't be, stacked right on top of your partner, really, in too many cases. You should be, LOSing behind but, if there are times where you're getting hit and your partner is, and you're getting, you don't always want to refresh. So, yeah, like it gets a Warlock. So, Prayer of Mending, what a lot of people do, I notice, like, people will refresh it when it only jumps once. Like, let that Prayer of Mending do its job. Let it jump back and forth and get the healing from it that you can get, especially if you're getting hit and the other person's getting hit, or if you want to use a you can even have it jump by using a Shadow Word Death. You know what I mean? Shadow Word Death, and that jump to the person. But a lot of people will go, like use Prayer of Mending in a way where they're just, okay, it healed the target I wanted to heal. Now I want to put another one on him. Put another one on him.
Who do you
let
think
it jump a couple times?
Who do you think is?
Let it actually do.
What do you think is top dog healer in a raid environment in BC?
In a raid environment, every
people
healer has their niche. It's very raw output. Shamans do extremely well in high-end content. So do priests. So do druids. So do paladins. Yeah.
I heard paladins went down a little bit.
Yeah, paladins are a little bit less.
I would say paladins take the lower end, and I would say, so druids. Very, very good, because, okay, here's the thing. You have, and I know we talked about this, yes, there's less healers and there's less people, but when there's less healers and you don't have everyone healing the same target, HOTS are much more powerful, right? So druids have a much more place to shine, because without 12 healers, you're much more likely to let that HOT let it finish ticking and get more healing out of it. That's why Renew is very good as well. Yes, you have less healers. Yes, you have less people. But a lot of times in a raid setting, all the 12 healers, sometimes they're focused on healing one person. You know what I mean? So with that, a little bit more of allowance to let these HOTS tick off, I think druids, have a good place. You see how Life Bloom ticks for an amazing amount, and it's just a really great heal. But I think for me, shamans, druids, and priests are kind of like, you need them. You need all of them. Like, obviously,
you need paladin for tank healing, right?
The
thing is, it's just lower on the damage on the healing meters, because you heal one single target and everyone else is throwing HOTS everywhere. So the healing meters go up. You see.
Yeah, paladins get kind of shit, because imagine as a priest, right? You have so many options now. You have Renew, right? You have your shield for big hits. Your power word shield, which is obviously you got to know when to use it. It's very important to know when to use Power Word Shield. Prayer of Mending, Renew. You have now all your other heals. You have Circle of Healing. So you have.
Do druids suffer from the same problems though? Like, as in class, people say that druids, HOTS just are when you're playing at a high end level, it's hard for you to get value from HOTS, right? Because everybody's just sniping heals back and forth using instant heals.
It can be harder. However, it's not nearly as bad as it was in vanilla, in my opinion.
Well, for Alliance at least, you don't have the paladins doing the flash of lights on the raid, so the HOTS
They're
can
mostly
keep on
using
ticking.
Holy Light, yeah. So paladins are using Holy Light more, correct? TBC, right? Yeah. So, but Circle of Healing. So I just want to talk about that for a second. Like, as far as having these instant cast heals, there's some fights in heroics. Remember, I forget what fight it was. It's one of the Alkandun, but where you basically can't heal any.
Any
heals.
casts. And
you have to use all like HOTS and instant casts. And
the
only people that can do it are druids and priests, because you have Circle of Healing, Prayer of Mending, Renew, and Shield as a priest. So you have preemptive, you have all these amazing things you could do as a priest or a druid for instant cast. So there's certain times I think priest is at its best in TBC. You have so many options when it comes to raid healing. You have an option for AoE. You have, two options for AoE, an option for HOTS, Prayer of Mending. Dude, priest is just so good.
People say priests are the kings of the king healers in vanilla. Would you say they power up even more, or going into TBC, you think they get even stronger?
I think so.
It's a full package, really.
It really is. I
The
stand
gap,
by
the gap
Priest 100%,
definitely
yeah.
closes between the other healers,
It
but
does.
they
yeah.
have so much more added to their kit that they really become even stronger.
It looks fun too, honestly. Just between
It
Circle
is
of Healing,
so much fun.
Prayer of Mending, some of these even kind of light well looks kind of fun, yo. I'm not gonna lie, even though it's trash.
I mean, you
but,
can take
know, like,
it, but here's I want to say something. Like sometimes I get bored. You know what I mean? But in TBC, I never got fucking bored. I loved it. I just want to run through disciplines because we're really taking long on Priest.
So wait, one thing that confuses me. Circle of Healing got through like 100 changes. Which version do we actually?
So we're gonna get the 6-second cooldown instant cast.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I
So it
really
has
like
cooldown.
That was OP, obviously, but I
Oh,
really
when it
like
didn't have
the
a
one without
cooldown, it
cooldown.
was-
Yeah.
it had a 1 minute cooldown.
No,
No
there was-
cooldown.
Oh, it had no cooldown. Okay, I
Just
see.
Spam,
Circle
spam,
of
spam.
Healing, you could just spam over and over
Yeah.
and over
That's
and
insane.
over again. I mean, you go quick as fuck, but still.
Yeah, sure, but
yeah.
I mean, that's how he killed Illidan the first
Yeah.
time.
But it's like
I
5,
guess
6 seconds
many
or
people-
whatever. Yeah. So real quick, I love guys. Holy is amazing, but Discipline is the absolute master in PvP. Now I will say, there is one talent in the Holy Tree for PvP that's actually really good, and that is Blessed Resilience. So it's to the right of Lightwell. And
Oh
if you
yeah,
just
see,
hover-
right. Yep.
So I, in the early days, I actually saw a lot of priests, especially in battlegrounds, who would go holy and get Blessed Resilience. Critical hit against you has a 60% chance, right? That any crit for the next 6 seconds will not crit you, basically. Critical hits against you have a 60% chance to reduce the chance you'll be critically hit.
You can't be
by
crit for 6 seconds.
100%. Exactly.
So,
it's OP as
that's
fuck,
insane.
dude.
That's
It's
insane.
so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. And people, obviously, Discipline is like too good to pass up because you have so many good things. But a lot of and BGs and stuff and do really, really good. So it's a lot of fun. But
I remember that messing up my shatter combos on Mage.
oh, dude, But real quick, I just want to go down, talk about Unbreakable Will. Obviously, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but so Absolution is a new thing in there. So it reduces the mana cost of your dispel magic, cure disease, abolish disease, and massive spell. Massive spell. Let's talk about that for 1 second.
Ooh, Massive Spell. Yeah, I gotta pull
Massive
up
spell. It removes people out of stealth. People forget about that.
Yup.
It removes bubble. It removes ice block.
Removes bubble and ice block. Oh man.
It also
love
removes,
to see it.
whatever,
You hate to see that, right?
It is
Yeah, I hate to see it. Dunedain, you hate to see it.
Yeah. It is so powerful. However, it uses a good amount of mana. So you have to be careful how often you use it. But with the points in Absolution, and you get 2 points in Focus Power, which your Master Spell cast time is reduced by 1 second.
So it becomes 0.5 second cast.
Yes, 0.5 second cast.
Insane.
And then also improved mana
Insane.
burn. So back in BC, one thing that I used to hate going against other people in Arena was a priest versus priest, because a lot of times it would be who can mana burn who the quickest. You know what I mean? Because mana is so essential in Arena, right, in 2v2. So yeah, improved mana burn is still very going against paladins. If you get a druid, to go out of form sometimes, give them mana burns. It's very nice to have, but also you got to remember that you can't just sit there and be mana burning. You have to be, working offensively, defensively, constantly dispelling, constantly trying to LOS. You always, like the walls in the arena are your fucking friend. As a healer, always going to try to be LOSing. If there's a mage CCing, you want to try to, be in line of sight of your player as much as you can. Put a shield on them, put renew on them if you can, whatever. If you're going to be out of range for a second, but the biggest fear that you want to have is being, getting into CC chain and not being able to get to your person quick enough to be able to put, pain suppression on them or to be able to heal them. But you want to LOS as much as you can as a priest, because you don't have movement speed, but you do have fear, right? So you have fear. You can even utilize mind control times where but fear is going to be your biggest defensive, in order to get people away from you.
Disc is the go-to healing spec in PvP arenas.
Disc
right?
is the go-to healing spec.
You're not
Here's
going
the
holy
thing.
and
Here's the
2s or
thing.
3s.
I love Reflective Shield. I fucking love it. It's one of my most favorite things
Right
in PvP. However, it's really not. When we had to pump really hard, I obviously had to respect out of Reflective Shield, because there are things just in the discipline tree that are so needed, right? Especially in the Holy Tree and the Discipline Tree that you need. That Reflective Shield, the damage that you get from it is just not worth, right? for the talents that you do. Now, Reflective Shield is a lot of fun if you want to go into a BG, or if you want to maybe mess around. It's a lot of, I love people just wasting away on my shield. It's such an amazing. However, it is not as impactful as some of the other talents. Like a Focused Will, for example. Like, after taking a critical hit, you gain the Focused Will effect, reducing all damage by 5% and increasing healing on you by 10%. Stacks up to 3 times. Focused Will is an amazing talent, right? You have, of course, your Power Infusion, your Pain Suppression.
Pain Suppression, the big ticket
Pain
one,
Suppression,
the flashiest thing ever. It looks amazing.
Here it is. Instantly reduce a friendly's threat by 5%. Doesn't really, but reduces all damage taken by 40% and increases resistance to dispel mechanics by 65%. So, if someone tries to dispel, there's a 65% chance that Pain Suppression will not be dispelled. However, I don't know, does that work with spell steal? Because I remember my Pain Suppression would get spell stolen by a mage.
No, you can get spell. Yeah, you can get a spell stolen. 100%.
It's still 100%. Yeah.
No, but there is some kind of dispel protection in Disc though. Hold on, let me try and find it.
It's so you have Unbreakable Will, increases your chance to resist stun, fear, and sounds effects by 15%. You also have Martyrdom, which gives you 100% chance to gain focus casting effect that lasts for 6 seconds. The victim of the melee range attack, the focusing cast, prevents you from losing casting time when taking damage and increases resistance to interrupt effects by 20%.
There's some kind of dispel resistance in here though, man. Oh, here it is. Silent Resolve. Here it is. Look. Okay.
Silent Resolve. Yeah. So Silent
reduces
Resolve
the chance your spells will be dispelled by 20%. That's really juicy, right? That's.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is 100% needed.
Yeah.
Kargoz. Yeah. So a lot of people see the first part of it that reduces threat, and you're like, oh, that's what it was in vanilla, but they added in TBC.
And Pain Suppression. Pain Suppression already has 65% increased resistance to dispel mechanics. So 65 plus 20 by 20, 85%.
85.
Yeah. So it's.
And if you get Martyrdom, so say if you had it on, and you get a Martyrdom proc, that's over 100% right there, right?
Yeah. Oh wait.
20 plus 20 plus 65.
Does Martyrdom do that? Martyrdom gives you.
Martyrdom. So the focus casting prevents you from losing casting
That's
time.
interrupt effects. That's different from resist.
And increases resistance to interrupt. Oh, I'm sorry, interrupt effects. Okay.
Yeah. So it's 85% though base. Like as soon as you Pain Suppression, 85% dispel resistance.
85%.
Which is pretty
And so here's another thing, right? So reduces all damage by 40%, right? Okay. So a lot of people, will wait for to use Pain Suppression. It's a very, 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 very strong spell. And like so like Kargoz said, 85 chance to reduce that it'll be dispelled. So it's very, very important that
I wonder if you bring a Disc Priest to a raid though.
If you put it, what's that?
I feel like you might want to bring a Disc Priest to a raid though, so you can toss out Pain Suppressions on needed. And there's some utility
so
there.
it
Power
reduces
infusion.
the threat by 5% as well.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with it. It all reduces the threat of the target.
Well, you could throw it on at someone who pulls. If I pull something or some shit like
yeah,
hit him with the Pain Suppression, Power Infusion.
It's much more important for the healing that you get in the. You still can have a fusion if you want to, but the holy tree is just, there's so many good things like Circle of Healing that are just so more important. But I know we're spending so much time on
you bring one discipline for the priest, the spirit buff, and if you go to the spirit buff, you can't go to Circle of Healing anyway.
You can't get the spirit buff and Circle of Healing, So but basically what in the 2v2 setting, right? You have, or a 3v3, any arena setting, basically, right? You have a pretty good healer, whether it's a paladin, priest, druid, right? Priests are very tanky. Okay, they have their shields, they have inner fire, they have a lot of resilience, they have so many pain suppression, so many cooldowns to do, so many really strong defensive cooldowns and spells. However, you do still want to put some points into the holy tree. You usually go down to improved healing, so you get improved renew, holy spec, divine fury. You go down to improved healing. That's about as far down. Everything else you want to do is stay in the discipline tree. So you go 5 out of 5 unbreakable will, silent resolve, improved power word shield. There's so many good things in the discipline tree. When you read it, reduces the mana cost of your dispel, magics, absolution. You're dispelling a lot in arena. Especially if you're offensively and defensively. You got to remember, magic spell works offensively, defensively.
One
So,
thing I'm
you know,
thinking
if
about
you-
right now, I feel like we've covered a good amount of classes now. It feels like every spec almost feels like it's getting improved, even if it doesn't.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if it's not like comparatively to other classes. That Blizzard did really well with that. Is there a spec? I'm asking everybody in chat and everything too. Is there a spec that actually took a step backwards and feels more incomplete or anything, or did they just hit a home run here? I don't know. Feels like
I mean,
everything
Rogue,
so far.
Rogue, like Combat Rogue, I think could have been a little bit better. I don't think it took a step backwards, but like I look at Combat Rogue and like basically the same thing as vanilla in a lot of ways.
I feel Mage was already a complete kit in vanilla, you know,
Mhm.
and BC didn't change it that much. It's still a very good all-around class, but it got the least amount
yeah.
of love. But it's not a specific spec per se.
Well, they did round out the arcane. tree, for
Arcane,
sure.
They
yeah,
definitely went out Arcane.
Arcane.
And you also have Frost.
Frost got a pet
Elemental,
though.
which is
Pet
really
is
good.
sick
Yeah,
though. I gotta
yeah.
say the pet is
So
sick.
good. But one last thing about Priest, I just want to say this. Plan on playing a Priest, right? You know, I would say the skill level from vanilla to BC does increase. Like, there's a lot. Like, Priest in vanilla is pretty, you know, basic. Not basic, but there's not, like, especially Shadow, right? There's not, like, too much to it. You know, you dispel, right? You know, offensively, I would say the skills cap in BC, it becomes a lot more fun. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot more abilities to use from. There's a lot more to do. There's just so many different options you could go with. Whether it's discipline, you know, discipline is just an amazing spec in PvP. Holy is amazing in PvE. Shadow's great in both. You have a lot of options to go with. I think Priest is honestly the best it's ever been in TBC, hands down, in my opinion.
So 10 out of 10.
Hands
what's
down.
your rating of
Oh,
Priest? in
absolutely.
PvP?
10 out of 10 every spec.
Every spec 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
Wow. I love to
Absolutely.
see
I'm
it.
telling you, like, Priest and TBC is my absolute favorite of everything. Like,
And you
there's
don't get
nothing-
bored. And it actually seems fun to
Never.
heal as a priest, honestly. Looking at the abilities, I could see myself
It
like,
really is,
circle of
dude.
healing.
especially in
being-
PvP, man. In PvP, it's absolutely a blast. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's sick.
PvE. Yeah.
That is sick.
All right, check out the sets.
Yeah, so I got the sets and we'll go warrior.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. Armor sets. Let's see what kind of soy boy priest outfit they have for this.
So yeah, the tier 5 head. I used to have that on my TBC priest, which was an undead, and that really suits undead very, very well.
Let's see.
It suits everyone, I feel.
All right, so priest is smack dab in the middle here. Tier 4, 5, and 6. Wait, what do you guys think? Actually, they all look pretty sick. I don't know. Wait, what do you guys think?
Oh wait, I don't have it up right now.
Oh, it did not switch.
You gotta-
Oh, my bad. I gotta transition it. My bad.
I mean, I know what they look
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but obviously tier 5 is my favorite, hands down. I like tier 6 a lot, though. I do.
I like the shoulders on tier 6, bro. Look at those
Yeah,
cool ass
yeah.
like avatar blindfolded thing. That's dope. Tier 4 is my least favorite, I gotta say. I mean,
Yeah, same
I think
here.
tier 4 is the worst set out of any of the
Really?
tier 4 sets.
Come
I
on.
don't think so though. It's priesty. It looks distinct.
look at
from
the
everything
druid,
else.
yo. The druid looks like he's in pain, man.
And the
That's
rogue
true,
one, I
too.
really
Druid's
don't.
pretty boring, but-
I don't like the rogue one that much either. In tier 4,
I think all sets really have something going for them.
I love tier 5
But
priest. though.
yeah,
Yeah, but
priest
tier
tier
5
5
is
is
sick.
my favorite from
It actually
probably all
looks
sets.
really good. In
Damn.
Shadow, too.
Which one was your favorite? Dunedain?
Tier 5 priest.
Out of all sets in the game. Wow.
Yeah, but I think it's also because I had that one back in TBC, so that adds something.
Yeah.
But still, I like the head,
Did-
and
On tier 5, does it have like a little halo that spins around? It looks like there's something above his hood.
now it's sparkling a little bit.
A little sparkling.
Oh, someone has to show the arena tiers as well because they are different. But yeah, differentiation is that's all it is, just different colors. Yeah.
Ayle, we asked everybody last time on our TBC what their favorite armor set of all time was. Do you have a favorite one and the least favorite one here out of these?
Like any class?
Yeah, any class.
Any
yeah.
class,
Yeah,
yep.
we're just curious. Yeah.
I mean, I it's fortunate. It's definitely the tier 5 priest set, and I
Really?
haven't played a priest. The
You played the priest too.
No, I didn't play a
Oh,
priest.
okay.
But the I think the way the shoulders and the halo, like it's a really angelic, fits into the holy priest motif.
Yeah.
How do you feel about tier 6 warrior?
That's my favorite.
I think it's good. It's a very tanky set. Very fits into kind of like the Black Temple theme. I think
Yeah.
that's where it drops. So I like it, but I still got to give the edge to the priest.
Nice.
I think
Yeah,
I think tier 6 priest Defcamp. I'm imagining it in an undead. It probably looks sick on.
Oh,
an
it looks
undead.
amazing.
Shadow.
Yeah.
It
Yes,
works
yeah.
so well with shadow.
It really does. Yeah.
Undead with that hood and like the shoulders on undead.
Oh, I love the shoulders.
Tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favorites are still tier 5 priest and tier 5 rogue. Absolutely.
Pretty solid. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
We're going to sneak Crixx in here. I want to just comment on Warlock real quick.
Oh,
and
nice,
moving on to Warrior
nice.
real quick. Crixx has been dying to get in here, and he's a big brain. He's been very active on. Oh, Crixx, if you're watching, send me a friend request, man. I can't add you right now quite yet. So,
I think all he has to do is join the call, right?
Oh yeah, he just has to join the call. That's why. Yeah. Just hop in whenever you're ready, Crixx, and you can say your piece on Warlocks. I'll start moving over to Warrior too, because we got to get Big Ale Gaming. His thoughts on Warrior. All right.
I'm so excited for BC, guys.
Yeah,
I wish I could play it now.
So you want to play priest again, Defcamp?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I would, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not healing anymore in TBC, but if I would heal, I would probably not play priest this time. I think I would probably stick with paladin, see how it feels.
I mean,
from,
Paladin's not bad. It's just, yeah.
yeah.
Druid, honestly, if I would have a Druid healer too. I would want to do both.
Sure, it's fun.
Ale, are you going to play Warrior in
There he is.
TBC? Is that your plan?
It's really gonna depend if I have people to play with. I really want to PvP on Warrior. PvE, not so much. They actually lose a lot going to TBC. They aren't the kings of DPS anymore. They do get a lot stronger a little bit later on. But early on especially, you're not going to see these crazy like all melee stack comps. Like the raid comps in TBC are a lot more balanced, and it's actually something that like we talk a little bit about is that what's going to happen when you go to TBC, like what are all these warriors going to do, right?
We were just talking about that last week.
Mhm.
How many warriors are gonna re-roll or just all be tanks?
It's
I don't know.
their arrow is going to be over pretty well, not over,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. Like they take a few steps down. That's what they.
It is
they
now
say.
the time of the warlock to shine. And speaking of warlocks, what's up, Crixx?
What is up, brother?
What's up, mate? Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and
Yes.
clear, man.
Yeah.
Good to have you in here, my man.
No echoes or nothing. We're good.
No echoes, brother.
Oh,
Yo,
perfect.
fam.
Hello,
Glad
man.
I
How are
finally
you?
caught a
I got
stream
mad when I woke
live.
up and missed it.
I've been Maya says to you guys. Hope everyone
dude.
is safe out
It's
there.
we're like shit. We gotta get Crixx in here, man. But I'm glad you made it, brother.
For real, yo, Crixx, man, it's long overdue, bro. Crixx is actively playing Warlock on TBC. Let's just say that, and has probably a very super fresh take on Warlock, man. Could you share with the
Dude,
people?
I wish I read. I didn't see your guys's. I went and rewinded it to see where you were talking about in Warlocks, but I didn't see everything you guys talked about.
Um,
To know.
we went over the specs, SLSL and stuff like that. You're rating on a Warlock, right? So like you have a pretty
Yeah.
fresh understanding.
I've
How does it feel,
I think I've
man?
hit every spec that you. I've played every spec you're gonna play in a Warlock so far.
How does it feel, brother?
Oh, it feels amazing. It feels way better than Classic. It feels like Classic, like how strong Classic feels.
Yeah. Feels even
But
strong,
like
way stronger.
but you're like topping meters at all times.
Damn.
Besides Hunters are pretty nutty too though.
And
but-
you have a
This
threat reduction, right? Now in TBC.
Yeah, it's a dump too.
Oh.
50%. It's a 50%. It halves all your threat that you're currently on.
Wow.
You currently have by everything within 50 yards of you.
So you can
Which is-
pump 100%. You can go 100%
Oh, yeah,
all
you
the time.
pump.
Yeah.
100%
Well,
zub.
all the time. It depends on like in dungeons it's really hard because Seed of Corruption is a different beast. Like I don't know if people remember what Seed of Corruption is or how it works. But
I
it's,
remember warlocks dying a lot in my.
Yeah, Warlocks are having trouble in Classic with just Hellfire,
Mm-hmm.
which means they're gonna have a lot of trouble with Seed of Corruption. But even with this, it's called Soul Shatter. The threat dump is called Soul Shatter. It's a
Soul
5-minute
Shatter.
cooldown.
How-
Cost a shard.
What is the
It's an instant cast. You just pop it whenever you want. 5-minute cooldown, and it halves everything, and it's so nice. It saves you.
what is the threat reduction on it?
50%.
50%. That is no
And you have
joke.
paladins now, right?
Yeah,
You have
that's
paladins.
insane.
So everybody, even me, I jumped in here. Oh, I remember Seed of Corruption from I played Retail Warlock a lot. I can do Seed of Corruption. It's very different. It's you pop one seed pops, you pull all aggro. You're
Really?
pulling all the aggro from unless it's a paladin.
What if you
thing.
soul shatter though?
You can, but it's on a 5-minute cooldown, so you can't do that every pool. So right now, for instance, right now I'm doing heroics, and if I'm doing heroics and we're trying to do a speed heroic, and you're not a paladin, I'm pulling from you every time.
So
You don't have time for me.
is
to
there
sit
any
there and wait 5
aspect
minutes.
of TBC lock for you, Crixx, that feels worse than in Classic? I'm curious. Anything that just feels worse.
I don't think anything feels worse. I feel like matchups became worse or better. Some matchups became like when I do my 1v1s, some matchups became like significantly harder, and you have to go about it a completely different way than you do in Classic.
Like what?
PvP-wise.
What matchups in particular?
Oh, Rogue's drastically different. Shadow Step, Cloak of Shadows. I mean, if you think about when you play Kargoz, you play a Warlock, and you're in a duel with a Rogue. Imagine you get opened up on a new Death Coil, and you just see their whole body turn black because they Cloak of Shadows, and you can't do anything to them, and they can just Shadow Step on you and just melt you.
Yo.
I'm having a lot of trouble with I'm having more trouble with Rogues than I am with anything else.
Rogue with full cooldowns in TBC seems like the hardest class to beat in a duel. I don't know if people agree in the class, but I was dueling a lot with Navik, and if a Rogue has everything, dude, they are very powerful.
Dude, like, yeah, I mean,
I can't do it. I can't. Granted, I don't have all our resilience gear yet, but still, I've tried to. When I first started playing, got a little bit of gear, like got Karazhan gear, I T4'd out, and I'm running around trying to fight, trying to 1v1 world PvP, and I'll like see a Rogue, and I'll jump, I'll let him get full health and everything, and I can't beat him. And then, okay, this time I'm gonna jump on him, not let him get full health, can't beat him. Like, they're just so good that it doesn't even make sense. And that's the matchup I'm gonna be scared of, because you're gonna see, I'm gonna do a lot of arena, and that's what you're gonna see the most is Rogues everywhere.
Your rating as a Warlock right now, you're Destro, right? And what is the rotation?
Yeah,
what is
you start off as Affliction until you get your hit.
Okay.
You want like 8 or 10% hit.
So if you start off as Affliction, are you using Unstable Affliction and stuff? Do you have debuff slots for days?
You have to. Yeah. It's a 40 debuff slot limit.
Yeah.
So you
don't you typically take one Affliction still after a while? So I think you take 3 Warlocks to a typical raid, right? 2 Destros,
we
1
take
Affliction.
3 because you can take 4, but it doesn't really help that much. It'd be nice to stack Warlocks on Hunters, but you can't because of the utility. You only have 25 people, not 40 people. One lock stays Affliction for quite a while because we have a lot of talents that boost -5 physical damage from the boss, or like boost up Curse of Elements because there's no more Curse of Shadows anymore. It's all baked in the Curse of Elements.
Right.
And then once you switch to Destro, it literally is just. It seems like now with DS Ruin, you would like, oh, can I get, if you get a Corruption and then Shadow Bolt spam, you're pulling more DPS, but it's not like that anymore. It's literally put a Curse of Doom. One, that's another thing, is you get the Curse of Doom everything.
Ooh, and it's
Affliction. When we're Affliction, you can you open up, you can put your Agony or Doom if you want, Corruption, Siphon Life, Immolate, and an Unstable Affliction. All that's on the boss, and then you spam Shadow Bolt.
God, that feels so good, bro. You can put up just.
It feels so good.
You almost feel like you have PTSD from not being able to put on your dots, right? From Classic, you're like, do you flinch every time you put up a Siphon Life? Like, do you look over your shoulder and go like,
it feels weird because like you wouldn't even do that in Classic because you're like, oh, why would I do Siphon Life? But it helps. And Immolate's a fat one too. And also and then when you switch to, you get enough a 10% hit, Destro becomes more, but you still want to. So I stayed Affliction until it's like 13% hit, and then when you switch to Destro, it's just boring. It's just TBM countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Curse of Doom, or whatever your curse is, and just.
You don't even throw up Corruption or anything like that.
You're a mage.
No.
Memes mages with Frostbolt. It's literally like you don't put a dot up, you just Shadow Bolt. And
why not?
So
Corruption, not even worth. Corruption, not even worth.
That Shadow and Flame, the second right above Shadow Fury and the Destro talent.
Yeah.
There's Shadow and Flame. You have so much stuff that bursts your Shadow Bolt damage that it's just nutty.
Okay. You don't even waste a global doing anything else. Wow.
You really don't.
That's crazy.
It's nasty, and you'll pull through it right away. If you crit right away, it's kind of like you're on a Chromagus fight, and you get lucky, and you get a big big hit.
So Threat is still a concern for Warlocks, even with the Soul Shatter, even with the Paladins. That's so hard they slap.
If you have a Soul Shatter every pool, which you should, typically on a boss fight, because it's
you're getting me hyped.
If you guys wipe, it takes a while to get back. You get a Soul Shatter every time. It's nice. It's so much fun.
Go
ahead.
What numbers do you put? Like number for Shadow Bolt. It's like what are some of the highest crits?
Let's see I don't know what the end right now they'll hit for like 7 or 8K. They're beefy, and I'm not fully geared yet, and we're still doing T5 because the server that I'm on, they didn't open up T4 and T5.
Yeah, what about pet Crixx? Are you using like imp
or Succubus?
Yeah, okay. So you still sack the Succubus. Okay.
Yep, sack the Succubus.
So you go go like DS Ruin, but you go DS Destruction.
DS Ruin, the same build, except for you're putting all these new little talents like you see on the right above Shadow Fury and right next to the left and the right of Conflag.
Yeah.
You're using those talents. So you just have a bunch of filler talents that help a lot.
What about Shadow Fury? Is this a meme or you just use this for AoE for like packs?
Shadow Fury it's a meme. It's so fun though.
Okay.
It's so fun though because you can seed in a dungeon and in Shadow Fury and it'll pop the seed and it stuns everything. It's really nice.
Are you trash in PvP if you get caught out as this raid spec though? Probably, right?
Yes, you are fully your trash. But yeah, you're like it's just like honestly, as a warlock, you're trash unless you get caught with SLSL. And SLSL is a different beast.
Yeah, it's true. I wonder if you could raid as
SLSL.
SLSL. I wonder if there would be a way you could be like serviceable.
Well, I mean, I do dungeons as SLSL because like just when I'm doing my rep grind because I don't feel like switching specs.
Yeah.
But you do good.
Well,
damage,
you have a dual spec on endless, right?
Yeah, you get your seed spam no matter what.
Yeah, it's
and your
true.
seed spam, you're sacking your succubus for shadow damage, which is seed spam.
Yeah.
So you can pump and pump and pump and
That's
pump.
true. All right, let's move on to Warrior, man, so we can get it done. We have Ayle here, so sorry, Ayle, to cut you off, man. It's just so good to have Crixx in here. It's long overdue. Ayle, are you going to play Warrior in TBC? And why is Warrior your expertise? Did you play Warrior back in TBC? It seems like you played Priest. Just give us the rundown.
No, I did. I played Warrior and I played Mage and Shaman originally in TBC.
Okay.
And I would like to, but it's going to be the kind of thing where I don't think I'm going to play it in PvE. They do take a little bit of a hit. They're not as strong.
Mm-hmm.
I do still want to play it in PvP, but that's going to really depend if I can find arena partners to play with. Because without that, you're really nothing, right? Having good people to play. So like big changes coming to Warriors and TBC. A lot of the talents get moved around. Death Wish goes into the arms tree from Fury, as well. Tactical Mastery gets moved from arms into protection, which really helps. This makes it so, all the 3 warrior specs can get Tactical Mastery, which was a huge issue in vanilla. Moving stanches, you just lose your entire rage bar.
Sweeping
right?
strikes in Fury feels weird, man.
Yeah,
It does. That's what gets swapped for Death Wish.
Oh. Have you ever thought about tanking in TBC, Al?
Yeah, so the changes to Tactical Mastery actually really help because you can pick up that talent. It gives you additional threat, even if you're not full protection. So you can tank like most 5-mans and stuff as the other specs. The threat does get a lot better going full protection. As far as I know, there's no like dual wield shenanigans or anything like that.
No
As a
tanking
tank,
in
you're tanking.
TBC, yeah.
Yep.
One thing that seems kind of hype, Ayle, that I was hearing about, there's some people out there who like shill so hard for Arms Warrior raid DPS. Like they love it. Like it's like their favorite spec in the entire history of the game. I don't know what exactly is so fun about it, but they go Arms in a raid, and apparently they do pretty good ass damage. They make compilations with like grunge music in the back playing, slapping his arms. It makes me think to myself, maybe you could do some PvP spec where you get the PvP, which is your Mortal Strike, and then you get to go into the raid and still kind of do some pretty good damage. Have you heard about that?
That's kind of a little bit later on with Slam and Haste. I think it really gets into a place that it gets really strong, and having both factions with Wind Fury, even though Wind Fury does get a little bit nerfed, it gets quite good. So that's kind of where like it really picks up. I think late kind of into Black Temple, like the 2-handed slam arms is quite.
I see.
And a lot of fun too, because you get those huge numbers with the 2-handers. Right?
And Navik told me this, and I've heard this from a few people now, that Warriors are still the de facto main tank. So if people are curious out there, I don't know. First of all, do you agree with that? But do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason for that is just the cooldowns they have. I know Paladins. I think Paladins only mitigation is when they're below like 35%. They get a damage reduction. Warriors still have Shield Wall, still have Last Stand. Even like to a lesser extent like Shield Block and stuff. They have a lot of really good ways to mitigate like really heavy damage on them, which the other tank specs don't. Like Druids. I think Druids might have 1 cooldown. They're pretty solid. Paladins as like a main tank, they can struggle a bit, but they are great at tanking 5-mans. They're great at off-tanking things, Paladins. But yeah, as a main tank...
Sorry.
As a main tank, I don't
though,
want a warrior,
sorry to disrupt. But the really cool thing, though, I think in raids is you bring one of each, right? You bring Prot, Warrior, Protection, Paladin, and Feral Druid. Isn't it? Because I think you main tank with the Warrior, then you have the Paladin for certain AoE packs and stuff. And Druid can both DPS and tank, so when needed you have 3 tanks. So I think that's like one of the most I think that's one of the most popular combos. I mean,
it is definitely.
yeah. You're strongest the more balanced you are, And if you don't have like a balanced comp, say you only have like 3 like warrior tanks, like you don't really hurt that bad, but you're definitely stronger having a varied classes and not as much class stack.
That's a really good point, Dunedain. One thing I am supremely curious about, if any 3 of you or the chat have any knowledge in this. So Navik was telling me that threat isn't as much of an issue in TBC. And Crixx, you're saying that, you know, you can still, it feels like you get shadow vulnerability and you just will rip immediately. And that threat is potentially a concern here. And then the other thing you hear is that tanks are no longer going full zug with itemization. They're actually choosing stuff like, you know, defense and resilience, expertise, and getting some of these actual tank stats. Which is it, or do they both kind of just exist together? Is threat like an issue in your raid right now, Crixx, for, you know, for lots of DPS, or is it kind of like Warlock slap so hard exclusively to Warlocks? What do you guys think about that?
It seems like Warlock hunters slap harder than Warlocks, but they have some, you know, they have feign death, misdirect, so it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't have problem, we just gotta wait, give them 2 seconds. Remember, because Warriors aren't Fury build dual wield tanking anymore.
Mm-hmm.
At least not right now. They're not. They're actually doing like
sword
which is,
board.
I like that too.
Yeah.
They're actually doing the real sword and board, what you're supposed to be doing. And if I have to give them a couple seconds just to build up. As in, like, when the countdown's going, don't start spamming Shadow Bolt a second and a half before the timer goes down, or you're gonna pull them most likely.
Yeah, Kargoz.
The big thing with the Warlocks is the AoE threat with Seed. You'll see a lot of newer Warlocks pull with that because the threat on it is so huge. They're hitting all their targets around the Seed. And as a warrior, you know, you're T-clapping, you're cleaving, you're tab sunder, tab devastate, stuff like that. It just isn't enough threat. So big time, you'll definitely see Warlocks and Hunters pulling a lot of aggro with like multi-shot and things off the start. The other classes, not so much. I was actually talking to Navik as well about the threat, and threat is a lot less of an issue. Like with the talents lower down in the warrior tree, devastate and stuff like that, it makes a huge difference actually, and threat becomes a lot less of a problem when it isn't AoE tanking. Warriors aren't that strong in AoE tanking though, so
Yeah, you're Druids.
Druids are stronger.
Paladins really are the best, right? I mean, I have a Druid right now.
Just for Paladin shine. I feel like if it's single target, 2 target, I'd take a Warrior probably. I don't know. It's hard to say. I love seeing a Warrior still though. You still need one in your raid.
Even Druid though, some people might think swipe hits out every target around you. It still only hits like 3 targets, so you have to actually manually kind of find swipe targets, and it'll hit the targets that are closest to the swipe target with it. So you have to, like, if you're tanking like 10 things, you just keep tabbing over to different targets and try and swipe them all and hit them to try and hit as many as you can. But it still feels kind of scuffed. Meanwhile, Paladins over there with like 9 million AoE things. Like,
and not only do they can they AoE and hold the amount of threat that Paladins do have when they have threat. Like I don't know about you guys, but it seemed like when Paladin had 10 mobs on them, like they're not coming off them. They're fucking staying on them. And it's like the amount of threat that they can put out is
the Paladin's baseline taunt is an AoE taunt. Right, we talked about this last episode, which is interesting. Their taunt is an AoE taunt, right? Isn't it 3 targets?
Put it on the person. You how does it work again? You put it on the person.
You put it on the person who has aggro. So and then you take it from them.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Salve.
Yeah. And then
Where Warrior really shines in TBC is definitely in Arena though. Having strike, basically. You have some really strong attrition comps, usually Warrior Druid, Warrior Lock Druid, having Death Wish as well, that DPS cooldown. They become really strong, especially as Warlocks and Rogues get stronger. Having a Warrior there, it kind of helps keep those a little bit in check, because Warriors are pretty strong against those classes. And people say that warriors take a step down in TBC. One thing you have to keep in mind, that at least amongst the arena community, they will rate warriors up there as basically an S tier. Well, they put Resto Druid up in S tier, but right below Resto Druid, you have warrior right there. Like, warrior is extremely powerful in PvP. The key thing is, though, you have to be in a group type of environment, right? Because you're still kind of a potato if you get caught out. Unfortunately,
the really cool thing though is even in PvE, you still I think in the optimal situation, you still bring 1 arms, 1 fury, 1 protection. So all 3 specs really shine in PvE as well.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, when you get a chance, because there's a lot of gaps, they say, like, that filled into the Warriors kit here into TBC. Like, what are some of the new things that in the talents or abilities that Warriors have that like separate them from Classic and make them feel better in some senses?
Well, for sure. So the one thing Dunedain mentioned is that you do want to have an Arms Warrior, and that's due to Blood Frenzy, a talent directly to the left of Mortal Strike. Basically, Ren and Deep Wounds increases all melee damage costs by 4%. So where in the Classic, you don't really have a reason to bring in Arms Warrior. The DPS just isn't there. The Mortal Strike debuff really doesn't matter. In TBC, having that 4% extra damage, that's huge, right? That's a reason alone to bring an Arms Warrior.
And you can use Mortal Strike because you're not worried about the debuff slots too, right? It feels good with the 40 the 40 debuff slot, man.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah. Do you still have to manage them at all, Crixx? Like, are you? I'm sure you're close up to that 40. No.
Yeah, we haven't yet, but if it is, it's just you got one affliction like putting 5 fucking debuffs up there. You know what I mean? All I can do is drop any of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
And you don't run an affliction all the time anyway. After you get to T5, you're gonna stop running one, so then it opens up 5 slots. But you shouldn't have any issues at all. We haven't, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the talent changes, like I said, adding Tactical Mastery much higher up in the protection tree is huge because that gives each of the specs, the ability to change stances, retain some rage, as well as give bonus threat to non-protection warriors to allow them to tank 5 mans and things like that. Very strong.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite? Do you have some? Oh, also, I mean, Second Wind is sick too, right? Like, what are some of your favorites?
Oh, it's so good, dude.
You have some of your favorites.
It's so hard to get through that sometimes.
Yeah, some of the favorite, definitely Second Wind, because like as a warrior, the bane of your existence is being kited, being slowed. So being able to, generate some rage and heal a little bit while that happens, that's really helpful. One of the abilities that you get that I really love is Intervene. Gives you just so much more ability to zip around. Somebody pulls aggro, you intervene onto them.
Intercept. It's like an intercept to a friendly target, right?
Yeah. You're getting burst in arena, you intervene, get behind a pillar, get safe. Pop Spell Reflection, another really great talent.
Huge.
Oh my
Spell
God.
Reflect, huge. How badly do you wish you had it right now in Classic, Ayle?
Well, I even now sometimes I'll like swap to defensive stance and hit my Spell Reflect macro because when you're rooted in the Frost Nova, what do you do right now in Classic? You just eat it. If you don't have a way to if you don't have a FAP or some way to get out of it, like you're dead in the water.
You guys ever see that video? It's like the
You cut out for a second.
Warrior versus Mage. Do you guys ever see that meme where it's like Warrior versus Mage, and it's like the guy from Terminator just running at a mage?
Yeah, it's
just like trying to get to him, just like.
I've seen that.
It's so good.
That is perfect. That is it. What about these talents though at the end, Ayle? Are these like any good for you? Endless Rage, Rampage, and Devastate. How do you feel about the final juicy talents in each tree?
Yeah, for PvE DPS, Fury, you definitely have to pick up Rampage. It's pretty essential. I know originally in TBC, a lot of warriors actually wouldn't get Endless Rage. They would actually go down to Sweeping Strike to make it so that you would get, Mortal Strike and still have that Sweeping Strikes feel. It'll be interesting to see how it is late or with this release. I think it might have got changed towards the end of the TBC patches to make Endless Rage better. And for PvE, I think you probably still want to have Endless Rage, but for PvP, you definitely want to have the Sweeping Strikes to cleave stuff, kill Warlock pets and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Devastate, huge. It adds just a ton of threat. It makes it so your Sunders, it replaces Sunder effectively. You can continually to spam that ability, get so much more threat.
Yeah, it feels really good. Druids have
definitely
Mangle,
has protection and fury. You want to get your 41-point talents. Arms, depending on what you're doing, like you said, you might skip that 40-point talent to get Sweeping Strikes. But I think in PvE you end up getting Endless Rage still.
Looks like they buffed Mace specialization a little bit too. Weirdly enough, you get 7 rage too, like off each.
Oh really?
Yeah, interesting.
Off the stun?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing with warriors in TBC is definitely Mace spec. The Deep Thunder Mace and Storm Herald is a huge meme. Has a 4-second stun on the highest level.
Oh,
that Mace
man.
paired with Mace spec.
Dunedain's gonna craft me one. No, it's blacksmith, right? It's blacksmith. Yeah.
It's blacksmith.
Yeah.
You
Indeed.
almost can turn into a rogue. Like, there's been times where, you intercept, they're stunned. You hamstring them, they're stunned. They trinket, and then you mortal strike, and they get stunned again. And it's just like,
Oh
even though
my
the DR's going down,
dude.
it's still interrupting them, right? So
Yeah.
I think originally one of them was off DR, and they had to add it on after season 1 or 2 because it was just, as a warrior, you'd be spamming hamstring just to get the 4-second stun proc.
That's awesome though, dude. As a, you know what I mean? Like it's really cool.
Ooh, precision.
Yeah, and then playing against teams with Ret and then warriors both with stun heralds, it's just like,
Oh my
you can't
god.
move.
There's some fun
Yeah.
stuff, man. Looking at it right now, like this. There's also just precision. This is like a rogue talent. You get the rogue talent. 3% hit on it's in Fury, but 3% hit in Fury is nice.
So, Ayle, if you would be arms warrior, let's say you're a human, would it still be beneficial for PvE purposes to go sword specialization, or would it always be better to have poleaxe? Because poleaxe, you get crit, so you get more deep wounds, and then you get more blood frenzy.
Yeah, I think it really depends on your weapon upgrades. All things being equal, I know most still preferred sword specialization, just due to the fact that you get the additional rage off that, right? And so you do get bonus rage on crits, but your extra attack and crit as well. So usually sword spec would still come out on top. The buff to mace spec definitely helped a bit, but usually was more of a PvP thing.
I wonder what the best race is for warrior now too, because they did change the racials around too. Like the way the whole weapon skill versus defense is changed in TBC,
Right.
so it's not giving you that glancing blow reduction
There's
or
no
whatever.
glancing
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe or
So-
Yeah.
So yeah, it probably with the Blood Fury change, or with Blood Fury, Orc's still strongest, but definitely the removal of glancing blows changes how strong they were, because in Classic everybody's stacking those specific races just to get those bonuses and stack all the debuffs and the buffs to do huge damage, which is another thing that this changes well in TBC, is that you can't stack buffs anymore, and that is where a lot of the power in Classic Fury Warrior comes
Yeah.
from. If you couldn't stack all these buffs, warriors would be much worse in Classic. So having that removed in TBC really brings them back down to earth.
Are you excited for no world buffs, or what are your feelings on it? Because I
That's
am.
the best part
very-
of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm already raid
so
logging
excited.
Classic, but I at least get my
Exactly.
world buffs. But it's just so annoying to you don't have to do anything. You just it's raid
Yeah.
time. Get
I don't mind getting it. It's just part of the routine for me now.
It's
But
crazy.
I'm
though.
definitely happy that they'll be gone. I just want to show up and go.
Yeah.
Have your
Yeah,
consume.
same.
Yeah. Yeah, the
And-
consumes, and that's it. And they're much more affordable, the consumes in TBC.
It's true,
And,
man.
And I'm saying that now, and because they're so annoying to get in Classic, we haven't even got them all yet. They're continuing to add them.
I know. We got
get
CG
another
now
buff,
coming.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just gonna compound the further into Classic it gets, and
Thing is,
I hope.
Sorry. Finish your thought.
I know some private servers had changed it so that world buffs wouldn't work in instances, and I know there are all no changes, but it'd be nice if there was something made to change how world buff works in Classic. I know we've beat that
Yeah.
horse a lot.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if it's one of those hurts so good things, because it seems on the surface level as we're talking about all this, debuff slots up to 40, so you can kind of just be free, you're liberated, you can use your abilities, right?
Yeah.
2, you can, everybody, flash for the people, everybody can,
Flash
everybody
to the,
can,
Oprah
know,
flash. You
Not
get
just
one.
flash,
You
though,
get
'cause
one.
there's
What-
flash,
let them
There's
eat
flash,
cake,
elixir.
or whatever that, expression was. They always start
there's
words.
the oils you coat your weapons. There's so many different other
Yeah.
the food buffs. There's the oil buffs where you coat your weapons with stuff that give you just massive amounts of damage.
Right.
Different levels of flask and elixirs that you can use. It's just more fun. Everything about it is it's just more fun. The whole game is
Yeah.
just drastically more fun. There's so much
It
more
is.
stuff to do. The world is so much better looking.
So world buffs, though, the reason why you can't, or they're not as effective in TBC, is there's some nerf to them, right?
You can't. They don't work past level 60 or something like that.
66
yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. Some
63, something like that. Yeah, I think 63. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So they're
Anyway.
essentially just basically gone.
Yeah.
You can still get them, but they don't work. Right.
62. There it is. 62.
And funny enough, originally the tribute buffs didn't have that factored in. and that's Skarm's claim to fame, is that he was able to stack those and use them in TBC to do crazy stuff, and they actually had to nerf.
Yeah, apparently they nerfed it because of him, right? That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at these armor sets over on the warrior. I think the
oh, dude, tier 6 is beautiful.
That was my vote for whatever that's worth as far as my favorite armor set, and out of everything, I love the tier 6.
That's your favorite out of everything, Kargoz?
Out of all of these, yes. Second would be the tier 5 warlock, actually. But I think number one for me, if you just see orc warrior, or let's say even honestly night elves kind of look cool with armor. I gotta say, like,
especially with the bulwark of Azeroth.
I was just about to say Warglaive,
yeah.
bulwark of Azeroth, tier 6. It was the transmog I was using on my warrior on retail, like, for pretty much forever. I got it. It was one of those things. I'm such a TBC boy, kind of, that once I got some of these TBC sets, I literally never changed my transmog, like, ever again. I was like, well, I have the best looking armor, and no other set can compete with these. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Finished. Got that. So, but what do you? Yeah, the warrior sets are all the way on the right, guys. What do you guys think? I feel like the tier 4 might be hit or miss.
The T5 is just too nice. The T5 is so beefy, like on retail, even on retail, because the sets are, the game is so different, but the sets are the same. All my stuff is T5: Warlock, Priest, Warrior.
Oh, really? Warrior over 6?
T5? Oh man,
it does look way better on Orc.
For Warrior, T5 is my least favorite. I like tier 4 the most, and tier 6 second.
I wish
tier 4 is, to be honest, tier 4 is one of the better looking sets of all the sets in TBC for Warrior, I feel.
I think we really need to look at, like, on an orc or Tarn too, because, like, I don't know, for me, I feel like tiers 4 and 5 on humans don't look that great. I think tier 6 looks great on humans.
One thing I just remembered, though, I know you guys remember this, tier 6. What's wrong with tier 6? Look at tier 6 warrior. Chat, what's wrong with tier 6 warrior? Look at it. Lame. No, just look at it. Someone's gonna point it out.
Boots?
Yup. The boots don't match it, like, at all. There's actually another pair of boots you have to get when you're making, like, your transmog or whatever.
Right.
That matches the set perfectly, but for some reason the tier 6 boots don't match.
There's a pair of boots from Black. What the hell are they called? Because I got this set on my in retail. And I remember exactly getting those boots, Kargoz, that match better. Yeah.
Yep. There's another pair of the boots that fit perfectly. I don't know what they were smoking. I don't know if they put the same guy who made the lava on Classic. They put him on the boots for tier 6, bro. he shit the bed.
It was Ayle and Crixx. It's Ayle and Bragg's brother.
Yeah, the boots look way off. The other classes, though, all the other boots look way off? No, the Hunter one looks fine. Paladin one looks fine. Paladin one looks a little bit off. I see what you mean.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Not as noticeable as the tier 6 warrior, though.
No, but yeah, some of those BC boots, they have those boots that look like they just don't look right. They're like weird. You know what I mean? They're like funky boots. I wish I could show you an example.
Yeah.
They look like some kind of clown shoes or something, but yeah, whatever.
Anyways, we're going to move into just touching on ZG, guys, for a little bit before we wrap up the stream. We'll probably have to do a part 3 at some point. We can talk about this stuff, for endlessly, but in the interest of time, we'll start touching on ZG. ZG's coming out on the 15th, guys. That's 6 days away. I think, Ayle, are you going to be going for a world first of sorts, or are you going to be, like, going hard on launch day of it?
Yeah, we're gonna be in there for sure. The Warcraft logs people announced are gonna be tracking boss kills and 5 Priest of Cars, so we're definitely gonna be in there, working on stuff as soon as it's up for sure.
Nice, dude.
Gotcha.
I'm really excited. So I just want to say ZG for me is I love the feel of ZG. I there. For me at least, it's like high pump and whatever. It's just like I go in there, have fun. You only got 20 people, right? It's like much less going on. To me, every time I was going to ZG, it's very comfy, very chill feeling. Like go in there and hang out with the boys and the gals, whatever. And like that's how it feels for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not super hyped for ZG, to be honest. But I think it will be fun because it's in Strangletorn Vale, and I like Strangletorn Vale. And it's fun because I didn't really do it a lot in Classic. I probably did it once or twice, and that's about it. So it's kind of new to me. I don't remember too much about it. So that's cool. But the thing is, I don't look forward to it too much because I feel like it will be a giant walkover, and I kind of like to have some kind of challenge. But
Yeah, I
we'll
mean, CG
have
is
to
not
wait and
hard.
see.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
what
it's
if-
not
get
supposed
in there
to.
and do 5 priests Dunedain.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Well,
go.
wasn't that you, Ale, who told me that it's never been done before on Real Classic? No one ever did that, right? So this is
That's the
Really?
rumor.
G-
Eden Hazakostas, the current game dev of retail, his guild tried it and they wiped at 1 or 2%. They weren't able to do it.
Wow.
They were one of the top guilds.
Can you explain what that is, Ale? Because I think a lot of people in the chat don't even know what you're talking about right now. Like that was news to me when I first heard it.
The ads and all.
Yeah, for sure. So the end boss of ZG is Hakar, and basically how it works, there's a bunch of bosses all throughout the zone. They actually give him buffs until they're killed, and a lot of people don't really know that because you go through the whole instance and you kill all the little, all the other bosses, and then you do him. But you can actually go directly to him. He's right in the middle of the zone and fight him. And for every boss you don't kill, it gives him a buffed ability. And they're actually incredibly strong. I think they made it so he was never really meant to be killed, but people believe that it might be possible.
Well, they got him to 1%.
That's so
It's
sick,
definitely,
dude.
I think it would be possible.
Meant
I
not to
would
be
love to
killed,
see
and
you
the
do that.
players override the freaking game design of with all the combined min-max knowledge. That's
Well,
a pretty
it's
cool story.
absolutely crazy the abilities he gets. It's just like, multiple threat wipes, AOE gouges. He does the mind control stuff as well.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's mind
controlling.
controlling the tank, right? So it's
He
like, yeah.
berserks, he like thrashes. It's just like he's just on roids. He's like 4 or 5 bosses at once. People are comparing it basically to a retail boss fight for how
Wow.
difficult it is.
Mythic, like, yeah.
That's exciting, man. That's
And
gonna
it's
be
winning.
exciting. I can't
I
wait.
would love to see you do this. And you gotta remember, so he's still doing all tanks and those threat wipes and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like, how do you even tank it? Like, how?
And he has bonus health too. I think his health is like it's doubled or something. He has like
Oh my god!
the same amount of health as a BWL boss and as a 20 man.
Damn.
So what are you
dude.
just doing, like all warriors or something?
I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I would love. Are you gonna stream this, Hale, or?
Can he be killed?
Well, we're doing ZG World First coverage, guys, next week. So once it
Oh,
comes
right,
out,
right.
I'm gonna be doing it. We did it for BWL as well. It'll be cool. We're gonna be going through all the different streams and POVs of people trying to do it. I know my man Alive and the Progress
that's
Boys are
gonna
gonna
be
be trying
awesome,
their best. Onslaught, that's always my vote for Onslaught, man. Holding down for NA.
Hell
I'll be
yeah,
rooting-
dude!
rooting
For
for you
Scarum, my
guys.
Scarum brothers, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hope of NA.
The hope of NA, man. We're gonna be tuning in.
Honestly, if I had to put my money on, I would put my money.
People knew that we were going to clear out BWL so fast. I wonder if it's confirmed that you can kill Hakar with 5 priests up.
We're about to
in
find
Classic,
out in a
like,
couple days.
You're telling me they designed him to not be killable, like no chance, non-starter. You have to clear the dungeon at least a little bit in order to be able to take him out. But
Well, if Ian tried, then it must be. I don't know. Well, he wasn't. Yeah.
that's fine. man.
I'm really interested, but Al, I think you wanted to say we've been really having a lot of. I think right now one of the biggest problems with the game is, the server transfers and the problems with Skyrim right now being 97% horde. And we're talking about TBC, and like I don't want this to happen going to TBC. So like, I know you have some things you want to say about server.
Yeah, that's just something I wanted to touch on a bit. Is that us being on Skyrim, we're affected really, really poorly by how Blizzard did the server transfers.
Yeah.
First, by having the free transfers open. What happened is a lot of guilds on the Alliance ended up leaving. We had queues. They were outnumbered at the start, not by much, but by enough that they just decided that they were going to transfer. Now with this new round of transfers, as people know, Incendius has become full, Whitemane's become full. They've done the same thing. They've opened up free transfers from those servers. And the same thing's going to happen. Mark my words. They're opening free transfers. Whichever faction has less population, they're going to start moving off, and there's going to be a mass exodus. Those servers are going to become horribly imbalanced in one way or another.
Yep.
And
Okay.
they haven't done anything about this. They've just opened it up and let it be willy-nilly. And we know with Classic, the huge benefit of it is the community and having other people to play with, and the fact that they're being so reckless, just allowing the community to effectively, wreck servers is just incredibly lacking forethought and just reckless. And I don't know, like, you're on Incendious now, Crixx, right? Like, what's the
Actually,
situation?
we all literally last night we had an emergency meeting in every single major guild. I want to say like 10 guilds all left Incendious last night on the first transfer, including us.
You're
It
horrible.
went from we don't know who's leaving to two of the largest horde guilds in the game left to a different server. We followed behind them, and now that server's dead. Completely
This is the
dead.
biggest problem with this game right
Incendious
now.
is dead.
Completely dead. We had to. So we rated
What?
at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock Eastern. You need to be in queue by 2 o'clock Eastern. Or you're not getting in the game
What?
for raid. Yeah. So that was everybody last night. We had an emergency meeting, super late. I'm talking like midnight late, and we all left last night.
Dude,
Where did
I don't
you guys
see that.
go?
Like,
We went to Earth Fury.
I was
Did the Alliance transfer away from Incendious as well?
At first they didn't, and they were like they're being such dicks. They're like hard camping every single Songflower. Now that they control the server, they're hard camping every place we can go. That's why all the horde. Okay, we actually got to leave. So everybody left. So
So
server's
the
back
same
on server
the
now.
same thing's happening to Scarum, just in
Yeah,
reverse.
same exact thing that happened
Incendious
to
is
Scarum.
going to be, and see, and this is what I predicted was going to happen if they just have the community deal, like, if they just leave it wide open and don't
Mhm.
manage how the transfers go, the servers are just going to end up totally one-sided. And
Absolutely.
it's
That's
gonna hurt.
exactly what's happening. And like, dude, I'm telling you, the game, like when I played on Dunedain server, it was a healthy server, almost like a great population. They were raiding Ironforge. Like I actually felt like I was playing Classic WoW. On Skyrim, this is not Classic WoW, dude. The game
So
itself is taking a hit because, and like, what do we do? Like, I'm so.
I want
frustrated at
to
this
say
point.
something about this too. So basically, I don't understand why you guys can't transfer from Skyrim. That's the first thing, and secondly, on EU they did the same thing. So we had 2 servers with multiple hour queues, and now they can transfer to our server, for example. And I had a feeling that our server was doing really, really good. We had the perfect balance almost, and the population is medium, which is perfectly fine. But if you scroll through the list of realms in EU, all of them except for 3 are high or full. So now they make people transfer for free from those full servers with sometimes like 6-hour queues still, and they transfer now to us and some other servers. And like I said, there's only 3 that aren't high population right now.
Mhm.
So I don't really understand why do they not make new ones? Why don't they allow people from high population servers to go to the new ones and balance it out a little bit? That
They
would
need
be-
they need to manage the balance, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
why transferring from, a server like Scarum to another server isn't good. Because originally that's why everybody on the Alliance left Scarum and went to
Exactly.
Incendius, is that
Mhm.
it was a medium high pop balanced server. You're like, we're gonna go here and be a part of that, and then due to this, everybody flocked to it, and then it became out of control,
Yep.
right? So if you look to move to a good server, it's people are like what are they called? Like everybody's like Zerg minded, It's
Yeah.
some people start doing it,
Hive
and then
mind,
too
yeah.
many people do it, and if they don't have controls on it, the situation gets just totally out of control.
Yep.
The servers get way too high pop.
So how would they
They
fix
open
it though? What would be the solution? Like if they could go back in time or something, or how could they fix
No,
it?
it's
Let's
not-
go back in time. So
They
yeah.
should open up new servers and allow people to transfer from the high and the full servers, but they should limit horde alliance ratios so it stays balanced.
They
But I
need
feel
to-
like in EU especially, all the servers except for 3, they are way overpopulated, and it's not even fun to play on those. But I don't know why, but they seem to not like to make new servers or something.
It's really difficult because how they've been managing it is with the queue times, and that hasn't been a good enough deterrent to prevent people
No,
from still
no.
transferring, right? So that's the issue, is people are still like, bullheaded, continuing to play even though that there's huge queues. That isn't like preventing people from, swarming a server. They need some way to either like limit character creation or transfers, something to keep the population balanced and managed, because without it, people are still going to do it, and then it just causes all these issues, and people end up having to pay, and
Yep, and and honestly, guys, like if there's one thing that needs to be worked on, and like we're talking about BC, like this needs to be fixed because in BC things are gonna get even fucking worse.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to figure this out now. We need to like do something and like I don't like they need to go right by the community. I don't care about how much money they're gonna lose from transfers whatever like this, but this has to be fixed before it gets worse because it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse and worse and worse.
It's true. Last thing about it, we deliberately choose to transfer to a medium pop server, and now it's filling up. So I feel that's it's not what we choose for.
Right.
I just can't believe that Incendious, people come into the stream all the time and they say, hey Kargoz, I'm looking for a really hype server where there's a lot of like activity, really fun server, good balance. Incendious was always the case study. It was one of the ones people would point to. Incendious, Grobulus. Now you're telling me that overnight, Incendious, one of the premium servers that had a really good
server, man.
And you're telling me that it's it's dead right now. Like,
yeah, it's dead.
Well, dead faction, right?
Well, unless Alliance stays there, but I don't see the big Alliance guilds like Ryzen. They're not going to stay there. They're going to leave. They're waiting to see what everybody else was doing.
Man,
but it's dead. And it was a good server too. It was a really good server. I mean, I read log obviously because of TBC, but other than that, I heard it was a really good server. Like good world PvP, good. They were doing 200 versus 200 world PvP and having a blast.
So the best solution people that the chat provided one time towards fixing faction balance is that there would be a faction queue. Now at the same time, Dunedain, you're saying that sitting in a queue is no fun, which is true. So would the solution be there should be a faction queue and they keep creating new servers so that they can have enough people? Would that be
I'm totally not against faction queue, by the way. I'm against sitting in queue for multiple hours, but that's because they just don't have enough servers, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, hopefully we can learn a lot of these lessons from classics of moving into TBC. Maybe they can not make some of the same mistakes, right? Because
seriously,
at least with
it's a huge issue right now.
Okay. Any final thoughts, guys?
Well, I want to end on a positive note and just say, I'm really looking forward.
You're dropping out.
Sorry. I'm having a lot of fun raiding. Looking really forward to ZG. Looking forward to TBC as well, but that's got a little while for that yet. But all in all, I other than the issue with the server, I am still playing this game every single day, leveling alts, having a lot of fun raiding with the guys. So, still going strong, baby.
Hell
yeah,
bro.
Same here. Playing almost every day. Have a lot of fun on my main, but also leveling and alt and stuff. And I just really enjoy the game, and it's really cool that we have it while we wait on the new iteration of it, which is TBC. But at this moment, we have Classic. We can play Classic. It's nothing like when we had to wait for Classic, then we had nothing, So it's a really good time to be a gamer. That's what I guess we can end, or I can end with.
Agreed. Good time to be a gamer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm a gamer.
Some of my best friends on the planet now at this point, guys, here in this call. It's cool. I love
Yeah, man.
I love this community. I never experienced anything like this before in my life, having this kind of, it's almost like a lifestyle at a certain point, like if you're making content for it and doing all this. So
I love you, man.
Yeah, man. It's all love. It's all love. Big Crixx, Ayle, can I really want to shout out your guys' streams too, because Crixx has been streaming. He's been streaming some raids, put it that way. And if you guys want to plug the streams, man, that even everyone knows Defcamp probably, but let's get some streams in the chat. What's yours, Ayle? Is it Ayle Gaming? Ayle Gaming?
Yeah, mine's Ayle Gaming, but as we've also opened up a Classic WoW TBC subreddit, if you want to check that.
Okay. Here's Ayle. Here's Dunedain. If you want to follow these guys more closely as they all continue to do stuff throughout the week. If you have the link to the... Oh, I saw Josh in here earlier, by the way. Kept from Countdown.
Nice.
Yeah, this was started by Josh. People want to go there, discuss Classic WoW TBC and everything that comes with that.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I'd love to talk to him, again. It's been a while since I talked to Josh.
So this isn't just a regular subreddit. Josh from Countdown to Classic started this, guys, so it's in good hands. I think a lot of people like Josh and miss Josh since he stopped doing Countdown, right? Like, it's been over for a little bit, man, so...
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah, Josh Corp, dude. Hopefully there's another BlizzCon this year. I get to hang out again.
Oh, there he is. There's my dude.
Still hanging out. Crixx, what's yours again? Is it Crixx _? I think?
No, Crixx Gaming _.
Crixx Gaming _. If you
It's
guys,
literally it's just TBC stuff though. I'm not streaming my classic raids anymore.
that's all good. I'm sure some people might be interested in that, man. If you guys want to support the channel, best way you can do it is to make it worth the time of the people who come in here and participate and share their knowledge and insights and stuff. So please, it would be a personal favor if you just go and throw them a follow. It would be I really appreciate it. With that said, guys, that's GMA46 for you.
Oh.
Sorry, Duncan. My bad.
No, I think I'm just twitch.tv/Defcamp if you guys want to.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
You
stream
forgot
a
about
little
me.
bit.
I just feel like everyone knows you, Defcamp. It's like
It's all right, man.
I'm putting it in there.
Anyway, I'm gonna stream a little bit after GMA. Gonna continue
Oh, nice.
my hardcore paladin.
Okay,
from,
sweet.
The hardcore cup.
We'll throw you the host. We'll throw you the host then if you're gonna start it. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Sounds good. We're gonna host Dunedain now, guys, and we'll see you next week. You guys want to do one next week as well?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
dude.
for
Yeah,
sure.
we can finish the classes and see how ZG is going at that point. Well, yeah, we'll probably be seeing maybe Ayle got the world first. We'll see.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are the best of people in my book, so thank you very much for your time again, guys. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Take